choice. Visit completewindscreens.com.au.
The parents of missing Perth brothers Jake and Callum Robinson have arrived in Mexico and met with local authorities. US correspondent Alison Petrowski reports from Mexico.
Deborah and Martin Robinson have met with Baja's Attorney General this morning. They are expected to travel to Ensenada later today to identify their sons' bodies. An autopsy report released to 9 News shows the cause of death for the 3 bodies pulled from the well were gunshot wounds to the head. The Attorney General says she believes the Perth brothers and their American friend were murdered in a robbery gone wrong. 3 Mexican nationals have so far been charged with forced kidnapping. Today, the Baja community is standing in solidarity with the family, gathering at Ensenada Plaza. Later, local surfers will host a paddle out at San Miguel Beach to pay tribute to the Australians.
To local news, a specialised training centre for electric vehicle workers will be set up in the nation's capital. It's one of a number of TAFE centres of excellence which the federal government hopes to establish in all states and territories. The facility will work in partnership with the Australian National University in a bid to train mechanics and technicians to work on EVs. And still with our roads, we are being reminded to drive with caution as National Road Safety Week gets underway. More than 1,200 people lost their lives on the nation's roads last year. It was 117 alone in South Australia. Roads Australia Chief Executive Ehsan Vasade says there's been an alarming rise in drivers flouting the rules.
Each of us can have a big impact on each other. We need to remember if you increase your speeds, you massively increase your chances of getting into a fatal injury.
Emergency services on the Yorke Peninsula had the task of rescuing a man and a puppy from the Hughes Engine House mine shaft in Moonta last night. Just before 4 p.m, the puppy had slid more than 5 metres down the mine shaft on Shepherdson Road. The owner had then attempted to rescue the dog and also became stuck. Eventually, Star Group officers from Adelaide belayed down to the pair and brought them safely to the surface around 8 p.m. The man was taken to hospital as a precaution. Methamphetamine use in Adelaide has returned to record highs, according to fresh data from wastewater testing. The latest report found that methamphetamine had the highest consumption level, returning to 2019 levels. Cocaine use still remains high on the back of peak consumption in 2023. Madonna has performed to a crowd of more than 1.6 million fans in Brazil. The pop star put on a free show on Copacabana Beach in Rio de Janeiro in the biggest ever show of her 40-year career. It also marked the end of her Celebration World Tour. And Bernard Hill, actor in the Titanic and Lord of the Rings, has died at the age of 79. He played Captain Edward Smith in the 1997 Oscar-winning film and then King Theoden in the fantasy trilogy. Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderol.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Lucy. It is back to work today for the Crows and Port Adelaide following their showdown match over on Thursday night. The Power will take on Geelong this Friday night in Geelong while the Crows host Brisbane on Sunday. Speaking of the Lions, they got over Gold Coast last night despite a swag of injuries by 34 points. Fremantle coach Justin Longmuir has alleviated fears of injury for ruckman Sean Darcy. He left the field early with calf tightness during the Dockers clash with the Tigers yesterday, but Longmuir says he's confident Darcy will be fit for this week's match against Sydney.
He should be right. He's got a little bit of a tight calf, but the plan was to always get him out of the game, so as soon as he had a little bit of tightness, it was easy to pull the trigger.
The Dockers secured a 54-point win over the Tigers. And there was one other game yesterday with Hawthorn edging past the Bulldogs by 7 points in an upset. Well, the Melbourne Victory has defeated crosstown rivals Melbourne City in an A-League men's elimination final at AAMI Park. Victory prevailed in a penalty shootout after scores were locked at 1-1 after extra time. Former Adelaide United keeper Paul Izzo playing a starring role in the victory. And there were also matches in the English Premier League overnight. Liverpool 4-2 winners over Tottenham. Brighton had a 1-0 win against Aston Villa, while Chelsea smashed West Ham 5-0. And that's the FIVEAA Sport.
Now the FIVEAA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automaster's technician.
Sunny and 22 today, sunny and 23 tomorrow, and then partly cloudy 23 for both Wednesday and Thursday. Right now it's 9.4. More news as it happens on FIVEAA.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years we, the Lynn Andrews team, have specialised in commercial and residential property management, But above all, we specialise in people, helping to make life easier for investors and tenants. Everyone is treated with empathy and respect. It's the way we do business. It's the Lynn Andrews way. For residential and commercial property management, we're here to help you. Visit lynandrews.com.au.
Selected Austrac campers come with a wireless Bluetooth reverse camera, giving you a crystal clear view of everything behind you. Tommy, I see you with those chocky bickies. Put 5 of those back, please.
Austrac campers.
Have you heard about the new life-changing Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery Grand Prize? I should say, David, grand prizes. You're not hearing double. This time there are 2 grand prize homes at Henley Beach.
That's right, Will. Prizes plural. That's hard to say. Prizes plural, particularly at 5 minutes past 6. 2 winners will live mortgage-free in a fully furnished Scott Salisbury home, plus $100,000 cash in the bank. It could be you. Now, get down there. You can inspect these grand prize homes at 202 and 202A East Terrace, Henley Beach. What an address. Every Monday, Wednesday and on weekends and public holidays from 12 till 5 p.m.
Become a member for reserve tickets in every draw and to unlock the chance for another $100,000. Life-changing prizes, life-changing impact. Get your tickets now at homelottery.com.au.
When you're a market-leading builder like Regent Homes, you never rest on your laurels. It's why Regent Homes is South Australia's only builder offering 3D virtual reality technology in their Envision Design Studio. At your first design meeting, you'll walk through your home in virtual reality. It's a wow moment, enriching your experience so you can make the right design choices from the start. Regent Homes. Innovative design, elevated living. Visit regenthomes.com.au.
Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth the trip, and now there's Barossa Mazda, Murray Street, Nuriutpa. SA's newest Mazda dealership is now open. For 40 years, Steinborner has provided South Australians with outstanding customer service, exceptional value, and a large selection of new, used, and demo vehicles. The Steinborner story continues with the opening of their new state-of-the-art Mazda dealership in Barossa Valley. Barossa Mazda. It's well worth the trip. barossamazda.com.au.
Streaming live via the 5AA Player app
on DAB Digital Radio
and on 1395 AM.
This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Hyundai's SUV sale is on now with 2K factory bonuses on Santa Fe. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 minutes after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Monday on 5AA Breakfast. It is the 6th of May. It's a cool start. The Bureau coming up in the first hour of the program. Stacey Lee will join us. We'll find out who Stacey's putting in the Keen Office Furniture hot seat in state politics this week. We're also going to cross down to the Osborne shipyards, where workers at the Subcorp are going on strike a little bit later this morning. We'll speak to Stuart Gordon, the Assistant State Secretary of the AMWU, to get a sense of why that is. Western Australia, a big part of the reason. Western Australia obviously in focus with the awful events of the weekend, a terror-style incident that took place in a Bunnings car park. We'll be crossing there a little bit more later in the morning. We've got a stack of fantastic giveaways as well. The excellent Kent Tone Hotel, $100 voucher that we'll be giving away over the course of the morning, and tickets to see Audra McDonald, who is the most awarded performer in Broadway history, that's coming to Her Majesty's Theatre. So make sure you stay listening. Call in, be part of the show, 8223 0000. Jump on the Duttons text line. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, listeners. Good morning, Will. I hope everybody had a good weekend. It was pretty hard not to with that absolutely sensational autumnal weather. Absolutely cracking weekend despite the result yesterday. It was a beautiful day at the Unley Oval. Bumped into Stephen Rowe, proud dad. His son's carving up in the SANFL and played a pivotal role in their win over the somewhat struggling Double Blues.
Might win a McGarry medal.
Yeah, well, he's going to have to win off Will Snelling, but there's going to be a bit of competition for that. But I reckon the Crows shouldn't have dropped Jimmy Rowe. I reckon he was stiff. I reckon he was very unlucky to get dropped.
Yeah, it'd be interesting what he wants out of football at this point in time. But I think there'd definitely be interest. As a mid-season draft sort of a guy. Come. I think.
I suppose the Crows would say, well, look, you got to make hard decisions, and we had to, we ended up with Rankin and our man Josh. Yeah, so. you know, he's probably not on that level, is he?
No, and he probably got pigeonholed as just being a small forward, where you can see what he's doing, a bit more time, a few more on-ball reps up the field when he plays for the Eagles at Sandford level. So it's a matter of would he get those opportunities elsewhere? But yeah, he's above Sandford level, I think.
Yeah, he's one of those
he
guys
just looks
sort
better.
There almost needs to be a separate competition for guys who are better than the SANFL and maybe not AFL level. Because there's a lot who fit into that category. It's one of the things that makes SANFL so good to watch when you've got guys like that running around. But, yeah, geez, this Perth stuff, it's hard to wrap your head around it, isn't it? It's just bizarre.
Well, I struggle with the language in the opener because it's so... when you get into the detail, it's so caveat-laden. So it's ostensibly an Islamic terror attack by a guy who's a white Australian kid who decided to convert to Islam, and then it wasn't a terror attack necessarily, as far as we can tell, in terms of it was planned out. He was planning one.
Well, it sounds like the people who actually played a key role in making sure it didn't escalate further were the local Muslim community in Perth, who were among several groups who rang the police straight away.
Yep.
Because they thought, old Buggerlugs is running around the Bunnings car park with a knife. He's just sent messages to all of us saying he's about to unleash his weird version of jihad. It does sound like the local Muslim community there wanted nothing to do with this bloke, and he's clearly got a screw loose, and he's started hanging around the mosque shouting, you know, death to the infidels, and they're all going, crikey, we're just trying to have a few quiet prayers here.
It feels like this is now this has quickly transitioned to being how many giant red flags need to be hoisted before something gets done story?
Yes.
The school was concerned. The
parents were concerned.
There was, like, I'm sure ASIO and our terror prevention people do a terrific job by and large, but why was this guy allowed to go run around getting access to giant knives and so forth?
Yeah. Yeah,
the other interpretation of this, and this is why an investigation is required, maybe everyone who's been a party to it says in hindsight, well, yeah, we had great concerns, but what does that mean? What did you do about it? Maybe everyone's recollection of how forthright they were coming forward with those concerns aren't quite accurate.
There's a shocking pattern though in Australia, and the Lint Cafe siege is at the very top of the list. Because Manharon Monas, he'd spent his entire adult life, monstering the widows of ADF troops, writing letters to them saying, you know, your husband died because he's, you know, fighting an imperialist war and he's going to rot in hell. And then he'd stand outside court with his nutty placards, you know, protesting about all sorts of crap that existed in his head. And he was known by ADO,
you're right.
known by New South Wales Police, and they said, look, he's just a bit of a harmless weirdo.
They don't do camouflage, these guys, do they?
No.
Like, they don't pop up going, oh, no, he just paid his taxes, never committed a crime, was a painter and a lovely bloke, volunteered at the local RSL, and then one day committed jihad, do they? Like, they typically...
I can remember there was a guy who was arrested when Bob Carr was Premier for plotting to kill Bob Carr. We splashed with it at the Telegraph. We put it on the front page. Carr kill, plot to kill Carr. Very simple, old-fashioned headline. And thought, well, crikey, that's the story right there. Plot to kill Carr.
Yeah.
Man jailed indefinitely. The Sydney Morning Herald didn't run a word. And I was looking at the paper the next day going, how did they not know about the story? Or have I done the wrong thing? And they got all sort of squeamish and middle class about it and went, we just thought that because this could involve issues of mental illness, we're not going to cover it.
Oh, God.
And I thought, what? Because you could say the thing about the Hinckley guy who was obsessed with the movie Taxi Driver and decided to shoot Ronald Reagan because he thought he was protecting Jodie Foster. You could say, and I saw Bob Carr at Parliament at work and bumped into him and I said, hey, Bob, I hope you weren't, did you have an issue with us putting that story on the front page? And he's an ex-journo. And he looked at me and he said, I think trying to assassinate the head of the largest state in the Federation is probably a story. And I said, that's what I thought. And then he said, and as for this mental illness nonsense, he said, they said the same thing about John Wilkes Booth. You know, the guy who killed Abe Lincoln. This is weird, isn't it? Like the sort of knots people tie themselves in these days.
I think at some level, people of totally sound mind don't hatch plots to kill large numbers of people.
Yeah.
Like, we can assume some level of mental delusion.
Yeah.
On all of these things. So if you apply that test to it, well, then you just never talk about any of them.
No, you certainly wouldn't.
It's interesting. We'll be heading to Perth. It's obviously very early there, but we'll be crossing over to Western Australia for the latest on that and the subsequent investigation over the course of the morning. It is 16 after 6. We've got some news headlines for you coming up on the other side of this break.
What is Luba House? Simple. Luba House turns your outdoor area into a stunning entertainment space with an opening and closing roof. With rain sensors, you'll keep winter out. And when you need to, you can let the light in, so you can be outdoors and entertain all year round. Best of all, they're manufactured right here in SA with options like LED lighting. But you be the judge. Find out more with a free design, measure and quote. See the light with Luba House. luvahouse.com.au.
Electricity bill! Bills shouldn't be scary. EcoVantage have supplied energy efficiency in homes for over 15 years. They can install hot water systems that use up to 80% less electricity than regular hot water systems. Help the environment while you save hundreds. And thanks to federal and SA government incentives, you could get your energy efficient hot water system supplied and installed for as little as no cost to you. Stop scary hot water bills with ecovantage.com.au.
Now, Matty B knew early he was destined for big things. He was the dux of the school. He was a high achiever. He could have been a chemist, a doctor, an astronaut. In fact, the possibilities were endless for Matty B.
But to everyone's surprise, Matty chose to be Lord of the Pies. That's right. He started making his own pies, and he called them unique pies.
Now, according to Matty B, unique pies are the best pies in the world, and with good reason, because he spent a lifetime perfecting them, and now he's living the pie life. Matty B also applied the same dedication to unique sausage rolls and unique donuts.
You just got to try them. Get unique pies, including sausage rolls and donuts, from your local independent supermarket or wherever great food is sold. Unique, it's time for something better.
Emergencies don't recognise business hours. They can happen at any time and need professional attention in no time. With Adelaide's only 24-hour private emergency department, Calvary Adelaide provides expert treatment at any hour, on any day. You'll experience shorter wait times before receiving personalised care from experienced professionals. For emergency care 24/7, trust South Australia's newest state-of-the-art hospital, Calvary Adelaide, 120 Angus Street, Adelaide.
Get saving now with City Discount Tyres. We're offering great deals on the world's top brands in tyres, wheels, suspension and parts. Suitable for four-wheel drives, SUVs and passenger cars, including Falcon, Michelin, Pirelli, Kumho, Hankook and many more. Finance options available. Search citydiscounttyres.com.au and locate your nearest dealer today. City Discount Tyres. We're driven by value.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Hyundai's SUV sale with up to $1,500 in factory bonuses on Tucson. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
19 minutes after 6, news headlines on this Monday, the 6th of May. We're going to be crossing down this way in about 40 minutes' time. Hundreds of Subcorp workers at Osborne in the shipyards, they'll walk off the job this morning, striking over pay and working conditions. 350 all up will down tools. They want a 17% pay rise, the same amount as their West Australian counterparts get. Now, the point the union makes is that the workers in Western Australia are trained here in South Australia by South Australians who then leave and get paid 17% more to do the same job. That's sort of the crux of this industrial dispute.
That seems like a pretty big inconsistency, doesn't it? It seems like they've actually got quite a good point, these blokes.
Especially when we're similar jurisdictions. It's not like they're moving to Sydney where people are spending $1.2 million on a house.
No. Yeah, there's no huge cost of living differential.
Perth to Adelaide.
Is there? I don't think there is.
Why not?
There was during the minerals boom about 20 years ago when it was going nuts. But
if it's, I'm sure it exists, but it's not to the tune of 17%.
No. I think property's come down quite a bit in Western Australia.
Yeah, I think it has too. So 17% is what they're after, but we'll be chatting with the union after 7 o'clock today. An investigation continues into the story that led us this morning, the fatal shooting of a 16-year-old boy after he lunged at an officer with a knife. Emergency services called to incident on Saturday night in Willerton in Perth South after a man was stabbed in the back by a person wielding a 30-centimetre knife. Police tried to tase the teenager, but then he was shot. When that failed, he then continued running towards an officer. Authorities say the teenager was radicalised online by extremist ideology and was already undergoing a police de-radicalisation course. Police Minister Paul Papalia says it's a serious challenge to try and fight.
What it demonstrates is just how tough a task it is. Individuals acting alone in isolation from other people can easily be influenced online, and we would not necessarily know about it, and they can act with little warning.
That's the other part of the story that we didn't talk about at the start. This is the sort of unfettered reach of social media story. There's no rules.
Well, this is it. And you got, like I bristle at the idea of censorship, but the idea that Elon Musk would have it, he can show unedited raw video of someone being stabbed half to death by a knife-wielding terrorist, and that's fine. Sort of, there's a point at which, someone texted in last week saying, oh, well, what about that photo of Nanette Simons, the bash woman in Western Australia? We're going to censor that? No, we're not. But this is where thought needs to be applied. That woman who was bashed by the detainee, that photograph was a hugely important news photograph. But if you had the actual raw video of her bashing,
that'd never get shown. There's no chance.
That's the difference, and that's what, like, in the world of social media, what the Musks of the world don't get. Are you going to say, let's just run raw footage of a woman in Perth being bashed over and over and over, being kicked in the head and stomped on? Like, nobody wants to see that.
No.
And this is where there's no shades of grey with the sort of free speech arguments put by people.
Because it's a crusade. It's an ideological crusade. I think the one area where the federal government overstepped in that whole Musk story was suggesting trying to fight that had to be taken down in every country on planet Earth.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that was a bit... I just don't see how anyone's ever going to agree to that.
Well, they've got jurisdiction over the planet.
Exactly. I just can't see how that's...
They can't really run things in Australia. Well, they're going to... start trying to take this operation offshore.
Yeah, I thought that was asking a bit much.
Next stop, world domination, says Albo.
Development in another story that we've been following over the last week. Mexican police are working to determine whether the three bodies found in an area of Baja California are likely to be those of 2 Australians and an American. Jake and Callum Robinson went missing during their surfing trip. Police investigating whether a robbery went wrong, saw them killed. 3 people are in custody. They're doing DNA testing at the moment to try and get a sense of if this is the guys.
I was looking at some Mexican news websites over the weekend. That story is not featuring on Excelsior or Novedades, which are the 2 main newspapers in Mexico City. It's just not there. It's not on the homepage.
And that's purely because it's just not that novel. It's not that different.
No, it's like about the 20th item on the main news site, Zeta, in Tijuana.
So I'm trying to draw a distinction for people that don't know. So it's not like it's not censorship.
Oh no,
there's better crime stories.
Well, there were 5 other murders in Tijuana on Friday. There's 300 murders a day in Mexico. Like, it's so sad for that family. But like, it's possible for a country to be both great and godforsaken at the same time. And it's just like, for that family, like, when bad stuff happens in Mexico, it's often really, really, really bad. And these guys were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Sounds like someone the people who approached them, apparently they just were trying to steal their rental car. And the blokes put up a fight. And this is the conclusion. Like, it's just appalling.
This is how disputes end.
Yeah.
In that part of the world, unfortunately.
In northern Mexico, it's just such a bad part of the world.
24 after 8, 9.1 degrees outside at the moment. It's pretty cool. Only Hobart is cooler than Adelaide this morning. It's cooler today waking up here than it is in Canberra, would you believe, despite overnight lows of 5 in Canberra. 9.1 here in Adelaide will be pretty close to our low. We'll check in with the Bureau for the official data shortly. Top of 22 today, though, and sunny. The weather, this is as perfect as autumn as you're going to get for doing stuff. I appreciate for the people that need the rain in the garden, hasn't been so great. But as far as getting out and about and living your life goes, we couldn't ask for more. This week is a carbon copy of last week. 22 and sunny today, 23 and sunny on Tuesday, 23 partly cloudy on Wednesday, 23 partly cloudy Thursday, 22 partly cloudy Friday, 22 mostly sunny Saturday, and 22 partly cloudy on Sunday. I reckon we've nearly had 14 days where the temperatures either had a maximum of 22 or 23.
Yeah.
And no rain.
Yeah, we were saying to the Weather Bureau a week ago, you can almost take the week off. And
we've taken.
it's
Maybe
exactly
they did.
the same.
They may have listened to you.
Yeah, I think they just said, well, let's leave the figures the same for the next week.
Well, let's have a look. The best chance of rain is going to be Friday and Saturday this week, where each day is a 10% chance of rain. So the best chance of rain we've got is on Friday and Saturday, where on either day it's a 90% chance that there'll be no rain.
But it's a 90% chance of 0 mil, it says.
Yeah, exactly right. Oh, sorry, that was 0 to 1.
0 to 1.
0. Well, no, sorry, no, it's 0. They're not even predicting up to 1. So any rain. I think that the percentage chance is any rain. So anything, even a fraction of a mil counts as something. There's a 90% chance of 0.0.
0.0.
Tom Wren in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us. Big weekend of sport to talk about, albeit it felt a little bit weird in the absence of Port and Crows playing. Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Glideroll Garage Doors, glideroll.com.au. Morning to you, Rennie.
Yeah, morning, Will. Morning, David. We'll get into our winners and losers, shall we? And look, it does go back a fair way, but the Crows, obviously, the big winners from the showdown perspective. And I think it was further enhanced yesterday, given their next opponents, Brisbane, who were actually amazing to get the result yesterday in the Q clash against Gold Coast. We'll give them a tick as a winner, but Brisbane, I think, also loses. So before the start of the game, they lost Brendan Starcevic to a calf injury, and then in the first quarter and perhaps 10 minutes of the second term, they lost Noah Answorth to concussion, so he'll be out this week. Lincoln McCarthy to a knee injury, probably gone for the season. Darcy Gardner with a knee injury, maybe gone for the season as well. They were down to two fit players on the bench for 3 quarters and just played keepings off the whole time and beat Gold Coast. So a brilliant effort.
That's unbelievable.
But they are the walking wounded. That they're going to be... Chris Fagan said after the game it was the best win he's ever been involved with because of how they responded. So great effort from Brisbane. They needed to win, but I think the Crows have got them at just the right time for this week. So, that could hopefully be a good thing come Sunday.
It's 3:10 or something, isn't it? Sunday afternoon.
Later game, yeah. And look,
Mother's Day match.
Sitting in 12th spot now, the Crows, if they win that, they'll start to be pushing up towards the top 8. So it's a huge opportunity on Sunday, albeit Brisbane, tough side and a really gutsy win, but they have got some injuries, that's for sure. Other winners over the weekend and losers, look, we'll stick with the AFL theme for now. The Western Bulldogs, hard to know because, we're not in the same town, but with the talent they've got, something just smells fishy there, doesn't it? They are...
Beaten by Hawthorn at Marvel Stadium.
Yeah.
What used to be the happy hunting ground for the Dogs.
And the talent they've got, and they had opportunities yesterday, something doesn't seem quite right with the Western Bulldogs, and Luke Beveridge has got a whole world of hurt coming his way, I think, this week. There's already been a fair bit of attention on him and that club, but they were dreadful yesterday. Credit to Hawthorn. That was a really good win, but... Yeah, the Doggies are in a world of pain at the moment, so that was a bad loss for them. Paul Izzo, who used to be a great keeper and still is with Adelaide United, he was magnificent for the Melbourne victory yesterday. Basically single-handedly got them across the line in their elimination victory against Melbourne City, so we'll give him a big tick. The Sydney FC women, they've gone back-to-back winning the women's title, so well done to them. Adelaide Thunderbirds, a great win for them. They're 3-1 in their premiership defence, so a big tick. Oscar Piastri leading currently the Miami Grand Prix, although it's under safety car, but that would be a great result, so we'll wait to see what happens there. Lando Norris, I believe, may have just taken the lead out of the safety car, but Oscar Piastri going along very well, so we'll reserve judgment there. Tottenham losers, another loss. That's 4 in a row now in the English Premier League for Ange.
It's getting grisly, Ange, too.
Isn't it? Yeah, and that's what happens. It's such a marathon. It's so hard in the EPL. But they will not finish in the top 4, so that's disappointing. So just starting to get hard after such a good start. They were flying early, weren't they? But unfortunately, they've just fallen by the wayside a bit. Spurs late in the season.
Absolutely. Good on you, Rennie.
Good on you, boys.
On you, Tom.
We're going to just take a quick break for 5AA News. On the other side of it, I think it is unarguably the worst loss in the history of football. It was something we're going to be talking about. Jade Robran at the scene of a scoreboard that looks like a phone number. That's next.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny and 22 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Lucy Loken.
Chipped windscreen? RAA approved repairer Complete Windscreens repairs it from just $99. Find the big red koala.
Hundreds of AUKUS workers will walk off the job this morning, striking over pay and working conditions. 350 critical employees at the Osborne Naval Shipyard will down tools for several hours, calling for a 17% pay rise, the same amount as their West Australian counterparts. Despite West Australian workers being trained here at Osborne, the union says those being trained are earning more than those doing the training. Iconic landmarks around Adelaide and some regional centres will be illuminated in yellow this week to support those impacted by road trauma. It's National Road Safety Week and we're being reminded of the need to be safe on our roads. Last year, the death toll on South Australian roads reached 117, the highest figure since 2010. 856 people also suffered serious injuries in car accidents. So far this year, 33 lives have been lost on our roads. Today marks 12 months since King Charles' coronation. Yesterday, the monarch appeared in good spirits as he was spotted walking from a church service. UK correspondent Adam Gilchrist says in a morale boost for palace staff, he's given them a pay rise.
He's decided to give his staff, generally speaking, somewhere between 5.5% and 6%, which is above what the government is giving public sector employees. But King Charles isn't public sector. If you work for the King or any part of the monarchy, it's essentially private enterprise.
Some university students will soon receive weekly payments to supplement their income while on unpaid university placements. Dani Geddes reports.
Undertaking practical placements is a mandatory part of some degrees, but it often means sacrificing part-time employment and facing financial strain. Nursing, teaching, social work and midwifery students will soon be eligible for $319 a week when undertaking unpaid placements. The federal government has announced the measure to help fill shortages in healthcare and education. Around 68,000 university students and 5,000 TAFE students are expected to benefit. It will be means tested and paid in addition to any existing income support.
We're being urged to take caution with picking and eating potentially deadly mushrooms. SA Health warns that with the cooler months comes the activity of foraging, and we need to know the risks associated with it. Mushroom poisoning cases referred to hospital more than doubled between 2022 and 2023, while there was a 13% increase of calls to the poisons hotline. Botanist mycologist Dr. Teresa Label from SA Botanic Gardens heeds caution with the activity.
My message really is please just, go to the supermarket and eat the mushrooms that you know are safe.
And a man's been assaulted in a road rage incident yesterday at College Park. A 52-year-old cyclist says he was cut off by a car on Paynham Road. The driver of the silver sedan then pulled over and allegedly chased the cyclist with a baseball bat before punching him in the face. Police arrived shortly, but the motorist had already fled. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors. Gliderol.com.au.
Big good morning to Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Lucy. We'll start with footy. Brisbane coach Chris Fagan has described his 34-point win over Gold Coast as the most amazing and courageous victory he's seen in football. The Lions lost Brandon Starcevic to a calf injury during the warm-up, while Lincoln McCarthy, Darcy Gardner and Noah Answorth all went down during the match. Fagan says it was an incredible effort by his players to pull through.
I've been involved in footy for a long time. I've never seen anything like the carnage that happened not only in the first quarter but before the game, losing Stars. I think it's the most amazing and courageous win I've ever seen, to be honest, by any group of players that I've had anything to do with, and I'm just so proud of them. They're out on their feet.
Dane Zorko was best on ground, collecting 40 touches and a staggering 16 marks. The Lions will now prepare to take on the Crows with that match coming up this Sunday. The Crows have won 3 of their past 4 and are sitting in 12th spot. There were 2 other games to wrap up the round yesterday. Hawthorn upsetting the Dogs by 7 points, while in the early game, Freo cemented its spot in the top 8 with a 9-goal thumping of Richmond. Well, Lando Norris has the lead more than midway through the Miami Formula One Grand Prix after a safety car. Max Verstappen is second and Aussie Oscar Piastri is now fourth. To soccer, Melbourne Victory has survived the first week of the finals in the A-League after beating crosstown rivals Melbourne City in a penalty shootout. The Victory will now take on the Wellington Phoenix in a 2-leg semi-final tie, while Sydney FC will meet the Central Coast Mariners in the other semi. Meantime, in overseas action, Tottenham's top four hopes are all but over following a 4-2 loss to Liverpool, while in other games, Chelsea crushed West Ham 5-0 and Brighton got over Aston Villa 1-0. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thank you, Tommy. Now checking 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automasters technician.
Sunny and 22 today, sunny and 23 tomorrow, partly cloudy and 23 for Wednesday and Thursday. Right now it's 9. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Hyundai's SUV sale is on now with 2K factory bonuses on Santa Fe. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
24 minutes to 7, been running in 5AA News over the course of the morning. This extraordinary concert at the Copacabana Beach that Madonna has conducted over the weekend, where 1.6 million people attended. 1.6 million. There were 3,000 police officers in the area to give you some sort of sense of how big this thing was. It is just extraordinary. There's a little bit of audio that we've managed to get for you. Now, the problem with all that is it sounds like just generic concert audio. It might as well be in front of 1,000 people, not 1.6 million people. That's okay, though, because we're joined on the line by Rod, who was at the concert over the weekend. Rod, good morning to you. You there, Rod? No, I don't think we've seen... We need a little bit of a tweak of the old computer system.
Silverchair played in Brazil at this thing called Rock in Rio in the year 2001, and... that concert had about 1 million people at it. It was just on the outskirts of Rio, but this is almost double that. That's insane.
I think we've got you now, Rod. Good morning. No, we don't seem to. It doesn't seem to be working. That's disappointing.
Damn.
Well, we'll have to try one of the other 1.599 million people who were there, I guess. It's amazing to think more people...
Statistically, if you ring probably 1 in every 300 people in the world, they were at the concert.
The more people there than what... We'll live in Adelaide, certainly, but that's pretty much the population of South Australia, I think, these days is about 1.8 million.
Yeah. But it's basically like if everyone in Adelaide did the same thing on the weekend. That's insane.
All right, well, let's...
what a bummer that the thing wasn't working.
Speaking of numbers that are scarcely believable, Jade Robran joins us on a morning. We want to find out from you, and here's a chance for you to win a $100 Kent Town hotel voucher. What's the worst defeat you've ever been a part of? I'll leave it open. It doesn't need to necessarily be a sporting defeat. The worst defeat you've ever been a part of, because, Jade, there was one over the weekend here in Adelaide that had people reaching for the record books. Good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. And if you are playing in the Elizabeth team, this is certainly, I think, the worst defeat. I grew up at footy clubs, and we're always finding ways to entertain ourselves as youngsters, including, jumping on the scoreboard and playing with numbers, throwing a whole heap of different numbers up there. And you'd be forgiven for thinking young kids have just thrown a whole lot of numbers up. But no. In fact, we might need our stats man, Ben Jordan, if you're listening. We need you on this story. Is this the biggest drubbing in history? There has been an absolute thumping in the Div 6 Adelaide Amateur League over the weekend between Fitzroy Lions and Elizabeth. The score was 82 to 24 behinds to zip zilch nada. So that is 516 points to nothing. A 516 drubbing, a complete annihilation. Now, Fitzroy were up by 369 points at three-quarter time. Surely you would bring in the mercy rule at that point, would you not? But Fitzroy players, they stuck the boot in, they reached for the record books and slotted another 24 goals in the last term. Here's a stat I heard. The 82 goals was scored at a rate quicker than one goal per minute of the game. Their forward Josh Rosenthal kicked 29 goals. Their midfielder Dylan Richard booted 13 goals. At my son's footy game yesterday, people were talking about this all day. They could not get enough of it. Here is the president of the Elizabeth Footy Club. He had this to say.
Oh, it's pretty gutting. shed a tear. A bit shell-shocked, I think. No one likes to go out there and get pumped.
It was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking because seeing the boys, they're like my children.
One guy with a shoulder, a couple with knees, one with a hip. We tried to hide them down the forward line just so they stay out there.
There's times where I caught myself running across the whole field to try and keep up with them.
It's been a bit of a domino effect, and late this year we just had a bit of a mass exodus. We probably don't have financial backing of other clubs, and you lose players to money.
So the Fitzroy coach, Daryl Cotter, he also released a statement saying, "We must understand that wins and records like this always come at the cost of opposition who are currently struggling. Elizabeth Football Club have always been a proud and strong club who have been in many battles. We have been in many battles over the past 30 plus years, and right now there is a long road in front of them." Now, sadly, the loss comes just days after whispers that Elizabeth is in danger of actually folding. Now, in their first 4 games of the season combined, they've lost by 1,424 points. Now, that is not fun for anyone involved. The comment sections on posts on Facebook and Twitter have also gone off, questioning why the Fitzroy players kept booting goals and basically dancing on their graves they've been accused of. But it is a hard pill to swallow, and we do wish the Elizabeth Footy Club, they've been around for so long, we want to keep seeing them standing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's sad to see that. Obviously, that's the story of a footy club on its knees. I got to say, I'm not a big fan of that. You're up 369 at three-quarter time, and then you kick another 24 in the last quarter. So you end up kicking goals in that last quarter at a rate greater than what you'd done before that point, which would suggest you went even harder.
Yeah, but I mean, they're all grown men. This isn't
I know, but
the under-10s, and.
No, but I think that's what you show. No, I think as a grown man playing sport against someone at any level.
What do you just stop and kick it around?
No, you don't go even harder. I think that's embarrassing. I think I'd be embarrassed if I was in any team that was up by that much and went, you know what? These guys are a bunch of old men and kids. Let's run up the score. I'd be embarrassed to be a part of that.
Well,
no, I get up to that point in time.
Maybe Fitzroy were even worse in the last quarter.
Well,
maybe they just
maybe
because how do you not kick goals? I mean, the whole point of football, ball goes up, ruckman taps it, Raver gets it.
Yeah, but we've all seen footy teams where the foot comes off the pedal. Even happens in the AFL.
Yeah.
Whereas like the sting goes out of the game. I think it's the sort of language that we commentators usually like to use.
See, I guess on the upside, though, for Elizabeth, there's been other clubs have been in this position before. I mean, 10 years ago, the Aldinga Sharks were going so badly that Sam Newman and Billy Brownless all flew to Adelaide and did a special.
We should do that. We need that for Elizabeth.
They need
some support.
But I guess the thing is, when it's adult sport, I mean, I know that there's no mercy rule in junior footy, but there is that thing where if a side is getting spanked, you give them the ball instead of having a ruck. Yeah. They're allowed to kick it in from the centre after a goal to at least give them possession, so they can at least try to control the ball for a while. Do you bring something like that in?
I don't think you can change the rules.
That's too embarrassing.
No, I don't think you can change the rules.
Are we the hapless under-8s who can't even get the ball? So here you go.
Yeah, no, I don't think you can do that.
Yeah,
I don't know. This feels a bit.
But what are you saying though, mate?
Women's soccer team against Thailand.
I was going to say, Megan Rapinoe, where she's going, USA,
yeah,
playing these like
surely
Thai
gets to a point
girls.
where everyone goes, all right, guys, I think we've made a point here, haven't we? We've scored 82 goals.
You think you'd take the guy? Maybe you'd take the guy. I mean, the guy kicked 29 goals. How many of them came in the last quarter? Maybe you just say to him, you've already got 20 goals. It's probably enough. What a schmozzle.
It is. I feel so sorry for that poor group of guys who were just out there having a kick to keep their club alive. We've managed to catch up with Rod Lennon. We've got him on the line now, who was at the Madonna concert over the weekend. Rod, good morning to you.
Good morning to you guys. How's Adelaide going?
Well, not quite as exciting as Brazil, frankly, Rod. What's it like being at a concert with 2 million people?
I had a great time, drinking beer on the beach, 25 degrees or 26 degrees, perfect weather, no wind, pretty girls dancing all around you and listening to Madonna. Sounds pretty idyllic.
How close were you to the front?
We were probably about 100 metres from the front, and I didn't really see the stage, but there were big screens, but the atmosphere was all around, and any big concert, you're going to feel the vibe anyway, even if you don't see exactly what's on the stage, sort of thing, you know. So it was unbelievable. Yeah, imagine being on a beach with that many people, and on the right hand there's high-rise buildings, big hotels, apartment buildings. Every balcony was full of people partying, and then on the left was the ocean and hundreds of boats just parked there. Everyone on the boats partying, plus the people on the beach, you know. And you walk around the beach and there's people selling beer and barbecue and sausages, and just amazing atmosphere, just incredible, you know.
So, Rob, was it in the heart of Rio itself? So, if it's Copacabana, that's like right smack bang in the middle of the city.
Well, Copacabana is the main beach, but there's Ipanema and Leblon. But because there's like, the beach is quite wide, probably 100 metres wide from the shoreline to the roadside, and then there's like a 4-lane highway before the hotels and the buildings. So you imagine the 100 metres, the beach is chockers, and all the road is closed, so the 4-lane roads are just full of people as well.
Wow.
And the beach goes, the Cope is probably 3 kilometres long, or as long, and the screens were in halfway down the beach, sort of thing. Or the show was halfway down the beach. But just the beautiful weather and amazing music, and it was classic Madonna. What else do you want to ask me?
So, Rod, what takes you to Brazil? Are you there on holiday, or are you an expat living there?
The Brazilian word is aposentado, but I'm retired and I came here for a holiday, and Brazil is just spectacularly amazing to live, and so I decided to stay, and I've been here 10 months and I might be here 10 years, who knows?
Excellent, mate. Well, you've picked a good city to live in. It's a bit more exciting than Victor Harbour, that's for sure. Good on you, Rod. Rod landed there in Brazil. What about that?
What a thing to be a part of.
Crazy.
1.6 million. Now, a lot of people would ask, if this happened in Adelaide and it took 3,000 police officers, they'd say, well, how much is the taxpayer paying for this free concert? And that was an issue in Brazil. I looked it up, and we love doing the cost benefit analysis they always put out. You know, this is the economic benefit was at a value. The economic benefit of this was at a factor of 10 to 1, I think, for everything they invested. So they invested something like $3 million. No, I think it was 100 to 1, $3 million, and they reckon it generated $300 million worth of economic activity. So
that's according to their local version of Leon Bignell.
Exactly right. Yeah, they're back of their beer coach that they've got there.
Excellent. What about that? Crazy.
All right, let's check traffic. We've got police and weather coming up in a moment. A lot of Dutton's texts coming through as well. A lot of people saying, "Go for the record." On the Dutton's text line this morning. Dutton's Mitsubishi, the new Gen Triton has landed. Book your test drive today. Dutton's, they're easy to do business with. But what we'll do is we'll get to those in a moment. Traffic first, thanks to Louva House, the leaders in turning your outdoor space into a great entertainment area with an opening and closing room.
Got a crash this morning at Alberton on Grand Junction Road at Port Road. Look out for works at Ottaway on Eastern Parade near May Terrace. Speeds are at 40 both ways there. Same too at O'Halloran Hill on Majors Road near the Southern Expressway. Slow down for a speed camera at Tapleys Hill Road, Fulham. Lux Cruise deals have docked at Flight Centre. Save over $4,000 on a 14-night Viking Europe cruise from $5,495 per person. Book now. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. The Lynn Andrews team have seen a lot of change in real estate over the past 50 years, but one thing remains unchanged: our passion to help people invest in their future. To build strong property portfolios in either the residential or the commercial sectors. Our commitment to property investment over the years means we have a wealth of knowledge to share. We're here to help you. Visit lynandrews.com.au.
For over 3 decades, Regent Homes has been synonymous with crafting architecturally bespoke homes, each one a testament to Regent Homes' unwavering commitment to design, quality and sophistication. And because Regent Homes is a South Australian family-owned company, they understand more than anyone what it takes to build a family home. Experience Regent Homes' award-winning display homes at Lightsview and Blackwood Park. Innovative design, elevated living. Visit regenthomes.com.au.
Now, are you living with diabetes? Ditch finger pricks with Freestyle Libre.
Freestyle Libre is a small wearable sensor that monitors your glucose levels and trends, and it sends them straight to your phone.
And that means instant up-to-date feedback, no finger pricks. How good is that? Plus, you can trial Freestyle Libre for only $15. Just head to the website freestylelibre.com.au to find out how.
Free yourself from finger pricks with Freestyle Libre. T's and C's apply. Follow directions for use. Read warnings and before purchase.
Hyundai's SUV sale with up to $1,500 in factory bonuses on Tucson. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
10 to 7. Let's talk about the weather for today and this week with Jenny Horvath at the Weather Bureau. And Jenny, I do that recognising entirely that we could just about replay last week's Monday weather chat, because these weeks are all moulding together, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. We've still got another dominant high-pressure system to the south, and it's pretty stable again, at least for Adelaide. A little bit of uncertainty in the north of the state, where we might see a little bit of moisture, but a dry forecast on the cards for Adelaide. So we are looking at a top temperature 22 in the city, 23 for Elizabeth, 22 for Glenelg, 21 for Noarlunga, 19 degrees forecast for Mount Barker. Currently 9.6 at the West Terrace Nidapira observation site. We saw our minimum temperature not long ago, about 20 past 6, 9.1 degrees. And yeah, a bit of a repeat for Tuesday there. Minimum temperature of around 9 degrees, maximum of 23. Maybe that minimum a little bit warmer there on Wednesday, 11 degrees, a little bit of cloud and maybe a little bit more wind around. But again, 23 on the cards for Wednesday and Thursday for the maximum through there, and around 22 as we roll out the week through there. But like I said, a little bit of uncertainty to the north. There's a bit of a little trough moving through and a little bit of shower and possibly even some rain around the northeast pastoral district, but it doesn't look like it will make it to Adelaide at this stage.
Good stuff, Jenny. It's going to be a pretty repetitive old week, like Groundhog Day. Jenny Horvath there from the Weather Bureau. Thanks for that.
All right, let's head to SAPOL. Senior Constable Jen Cullinan's on the line. Jen, there was a car break-in at Door Park. What's happened?
Yes, that was this morning. Good morning. It was just before 1:30. Police received calls from residents in Eyre Avenue about a group of kids breaking into cars in the street. The patrols attended and were unable to locate the youth, but they located a blue Hyundai sedan with a smashed window. So with the assistance of police dog Cooper, patrols searched the area and they located and arrested two youths on Roselle Avenue at Melrose Park. Now, the two boys are aged 13 from Hackham and Hunfield Heights. They've been charged with going equipped and illegal interference, and they're going to find themselves in court in June.
Jen, also, this is a very cute story. A puppy has been rescued in Moonta.
Yeah, it's a good news story, luckily for the puppy and the man. And it was just before 4 o'clock yesterday. Police and CFS, SES and SA Ambulance were all called to the huge engine house on Shepherdson Road at Moonta Mines after reports that a puppy and a man had fallen down a mine shaft. Now, the pup had gone down first, slid down about 5 to 8 metres, and then the owner had attempted to rescue the dog, and he'd also became stuck. Star Group officers attended from Adelaide and belayed down to the man, safely bringing the man and the dog to safety just before 8 o'clock last night. The man was taken to hospital as a precaution, and he's since been discharged, and the dog luckily didn't need to go to the vet. But we just want to thank everybody who assisted and the volunteers that came out to help with that story there.
Wonderful story. That's good uplifting one. Thank you, Jen. That'll get a big run on all the TVs tonight, Will.
Without a doubt. All right, let's head to the US. Miley Hogan is part of the 7 News US Bureau with... Well, we're awaiting an update, are we not, Miley, on the DNA testing that may confirm that the bodies found in Mexico belong to these two young missing Australian surfers?
Yeah, good morning, guys. That's right. They haven't formally identified these bodies. Mexican authorities, including the Attorney General, who's in charge of this prosecution, is saying that it is very highly likely that these bodies found in that well belong to the Australian brothers and their American friends. That's based on evidence that they've found at the scene, including clothing and other physical details as well. But they want the family to come down and officially identify and go through that process and it is obviously a very gut-wrenching journey for that family now who are in Mexico.
So they've now arrived. This is the parents, both parents of Callum and Jake Robinson. Are they there now, Miley?
Yeah, they are en route we know that they're actually in Mexico at the moment. Yeah, that's correct. We haven't seen them. We're just giving them their distance. It's obviously an extremely difficult time for that family.
It's just unbelievable. And so there's two other people who are dead, not yet identified, but is the suspicion that one of them is Callum and Jake's American buddy, and then the other guy is reportedly a Mexican national who's the owner of the ranch where their bodies were found. Is that the theory at the moment?
Yeah, so look, I'll put this into context for you. Those bodies were found, 4 bodies were found at the bottom of a well in the remote area where they'd been focusing that search. It's the same area where Jake and Callum and their friend Jack had told their friends that they would be surfing. It is a popular surfing spot, but it's extremely remote out there. You got to go south of Ensenada and then out onto a dirt road to reach this location. And there's no cell service. It's just a couple of houses, extremely isolated. That's where they found these 4 bodies at the bottom of this well. Now, it is also cartel country out in that region. At this stage, they are saying that the 3 of the bodies they believe belong to the Australian brothers and their American friends. They haven't given many details about this 4th body that was also located at the bottom of the well. Now, there has been an update just in the last hour or so about the cause of death of the 3 bodies that they are working on the theory that belong to the Australians and the Americans. And each of those bodies have died as a result of a single gunshot wound to the head. So some really horrific details coming out of this investigation. The Attorney General has told the media that investigators believe that this was a robbery that has gone wrong and turned violent. They believe that these suspects they have in custody attempted to take the ute of the brothers, and that's when this has turned violent.
Yeah, it's just an appalling situation, and as we said, the Robinson family, they just sound like such good blokes, very relatable blokes, knockabout normal guys. What a tragedy, what a senseless crime. Miley Hogan there in the US for Channel 7, thanks for that. It's got its own cartel. The Tijuana cartel is one of the biggest cartels in Mexico. It was also the place where in 1994 there was this fantastic politician called Luis Donaldo Colosio. He's running for president on a promise of cleaning up corruption. He stood up to give a campaign speech in Tijuana in the town square, shot dead in the middle of the election campaign. Yeah. You know, and it's just the fact that I don't think these guys have died in drug-related gang violence.
Yeah, so neither do Mexico police.
No, it's just because there's this total lowering of behavioural standards that comes from that type of lawlessness. And you look at the photo of this 23-year-old woman, like she looks like a teenage girl. And she's the one who apparently was the one who led this robbery. But, you know, it's just a disaster.
2 minutes to 7, 5AA News is coming up. We'll take you through a wrap of the morning stories, including we're heading out to Osborne for the industrial action that's going to take place there a little bit later this morning. Some 350 workers walking off the job. Why? Because the people they train make more than they do when they move back to Western Australia. So we'll get a bit of that story happening. Stacey Lee is going to be on after 7:30, and we'll put someone in the Keen Office Furniture hot seat for the week in state politics. And also, we've still got that $100 Kent Town voucher to give away as well. What's the worst defeat you've ever been a part of? Doesn't even need to be sporting. You might like to imagine that in any way you can. 8223 worst defeat you've ever been a part of. Win yourself $100 to spend at the magnificent refurbished Kent Town Hotel.
What's got Mike singing? Mike just got an energy-efficient heat pump installed by EcoVantage. Not only is it using nearly 80% less energy than his old hot water system and saving hundreds off his power bills, he got it for free. Thanks to federal and SA government incentives, you can get your own energy-efficient heat pump from just $0. Pump your energy bills down with EcoVantage. Visit ecovantage.com.au.
With 600 watts of solar powering your Oztrack camper, who needs a noisy generator to run all your stuff? Certainly not you.
Hey, you!
Oh, shh, he's seen us. Run!
Oi!
Oztrack!
Oztrack!
Oztrack Campus!
When you're experiencing an injury or health emergency, every minute counts. If your emergency can't wait, neither should you.
Calvary's been caring for South Australians since 1900, including at South Australia's newest hospital, Calvary Adelaide. It's home to the state's only 24-hour private emergency department.
So when you need fast expert treatment, they're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with shorter wait times, personalised attention from experienced specialists and nurses, and comfortable state-of-the-art facilities.
As a privately owned, non-government funded emergency department, an out-of-pocket fee means you're getting the highest level of care. When you or a loved one needs emergency care, trust in the emergency department at Calvary Adelaide, 120 Angus Street, Adelaide.
Get saving now with City Discount Tyres. We're offering great deals on the world's top brands in tyres, wheels, suspension and parts. Suitable for four-wheel drives, SUVs and passenger cars, including Falcon, Michelin, Pirelli, Kumho, Hankook and many more. Finance options available. Search citydiscounttyres.com.au and locate your nearest dealer today. City Discount Tyres. We're driven by value.
The news and information that matters. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny and 22 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Lucy Loken.
Make RAA-approved windscreen repairer Complete Windscreens your insurer repairer of choice. Visit completewindscreens.com.au.
Mexican police are working to determine whether 3 bodies found in an area of Baja, California are likely to be those of 2 Australians and an American. Jake and Callum Robinson went missing during a surfing trip. Police are investigating whether a robbery went wrong and saw them get killed. 3 people are in custody, and Jake and Callum's parents have since arrived in Mexico to help conduct identification. Children's best interests will be given greater consideration when a couple separates under family law reforms which kick in today. The changes were passed by Federal Parliament in October last year. They remove a legal presumption that parents share equal responsibility for a child. Family lawyer Dylan Birch from Aiken Partners says the changes provide a new level of safeguard for children.
These changes are to try and make sure that children are protected during divorce as much as possible, and that all court orders are really made for their safety and to make sure that they are in the best interest of the child.
Police are yet to declare a stabbing in Perth an act of terror, despite admitting what happened has all the hallmarks of one. Detectives say a 16-year-old boy shot dead by officers had been taking part in a de-radicalization program since 2022. The man who was stabbed by the boy is in hospital with serious injuries, but he is in a stable condition. Madonna has given the biggest show of her career at Copacabana Beach in Brazil. She performed to 1.6 million people to round out her Celebration World Tour. Adelaide man Rod went to the concert and spoke with David and Will from Rio.
We were probably about 100 metres from the front, and I didn't really see the stage, but there were big screens, but the atmosphere was all around, and any big concert, you're going to feel the vibe anyway, even if you don't see exactly what's on the stage.
Israeli police have conducted a raid on the offices of Al Jazeera News Network, seizing equipment following the government's decision to shut down its operations in Israel. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office has justified the move, accusing the network of being a mouthpiece for Hamas. Al Jazeera journalists have been among the few reporters to cover the war from inside the strike. Israeli diplomat Alon Pinkas has told the BBC the timing is concerning.
Is playing a pivotal role in the hostage negotiations. So even if Israel has justified resentments and anger and disappointments, call it what you want, with Al Jazeera's reporting, the timing is horrible.
And service station workers have launched a new campaign calling for better protection on the job. Among a host of measures, the Shoppers Union wants to see mandatory safety screens at servos and at least 2 staff members on duty at night. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderol.com.au.
And it's good morning to Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Lucy. Let's start with footy. Adelaide and Port Adelaide's players will hit the training track today as they look ahead to their round 9 matches this coming weekend. The Power have plenty of injury concerns, the most notable captain Connor Rosie, who's set to miss the match against Geelong on Friday night with a hamstring issue. There were 3 games to wrap up round 8 yesterday, with Fremantle too good for Richmond at the MCG, winning by 9 goals. Tigers coach Adam Uze says his players are doing their best in the absence of several injured stars.
So we're trying different things based on the fact that we haven't got the personnel. So we were up against Sarong and Brayshaw and Young, and they've ended up with 100 possessions between them and up against 2 quality rucks. But we needed to give our midfielders exposure. Like Tyler Sonsi gets an opportunity, Thompson Dow's getting better. There's a silver lining at the end of this, but it is tough.
And there were 2 other games yesterday, with Hawthorn recording its second win of the season with a 7-point victory over the Bulldogs, while an injury-hit Brisbane beat the Gold Coast by 34 points at the Gabba. What disaster for Aussie Oscar Piastri at the Miami Open, suffering wing damage after briefly leading the race. He's now out of contention and sitting way back in 17th, just 1 spot behind fellow Aussie Dan Ricciardo, who's 16th. The race leader is currently Lando Norris, who's ahead of Max Verstappen, while Charles Leclerc is 3rd with only a handful of laps remaining. And in some soccer, Tottenham's top 4 title hopes are all but over in the EPL following a 4-2 loss to Liverpool. Brighton had a 1-0 win against Aston Villa, while Chelsea's good run of recent form continued with a 5-0 rout of West Ham. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thank you, Tommy. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Speak to the Adelaide Convention Centre and let them elevate your vision for your next event or function.
In Alberton, there's a crash on Grand Junction Road at Port Road. Look out for works today at Dry Creek on Cormac Road near Churchill Road North. Speeds are at 40 both ways there. Same too at Belair on Russell Street near Sheoak Road. And speeds are reduced to outbound at Modbury on North East Road near Dawson Drive. Check your speed, Fairford Terrace, Semaphore Park. Is it time to level up your business? For a limited time, ABN holders can access national fleet pricing on Renault Traffic Fan. T's and C's apply. Drive away today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automasters technician.
Sunny and 22 today, sunny 23 tomorrow, partly cloudy 23 for Wednesday and Thursday. Right now it's 9.7. More news as it happens on 5AA.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech Guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Here's a gift idea for Mum. Seamlessly share photos and videos with your loved ones from anywhere in the world with the FIVEAA PhotoStream 7-inch photo frame. It's a digital photo frame that connects to the internet and allows users to send photos from their devices such as a phone to the digital frame. PhotoStream's 7-inch photo frame is just $98 from Harvey Norman. They also have a larger 10-inch frame for $168. And if you really want to showcase your memories, they have a huge and stunning 15.6-inch photo frame from $298. Tell them I sent you in and receive a bonus $20 Harvey Norman gift card with any FIVEAA PhotoStream purchase, limited to 2 bonuses per customer. See the range of FIVEAA PhotoStream digital photo frames now at Harvey Norman.
Check out this great offer at a Harvey Norman store near you.
For 40 years, Steinborner has been well worth the trip for a new, used or demo vehicle. Back in the day, Michael Steinborner opened Steinborner Holden with just 6 staff on a single site in Gawler. Now they have operations in Gawler, Clare and the Barossa Valley, employing and training around 100 staff, and continue to invest in local community groups with a focus on junior sports. Steinborner Automotive, celebrating 40 years of being well worth the trip for thousands of South Australians.
Streaming live via the 5AA Player app on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Hyundai's SUV sale with up to $1,500 in factory bonuses on Tucson. T's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 after 7, the sun's just peeking its head over the hills as we speak. As you look out to the east, there's not a cloud in the sky. I can't speak for the rest of it, but looks like a nice sort of a morning. It would explain the fact it got as low as 9 on a day that otherwise will be very pleasant. To 23 the expected top today. Again, another 7-day period where it's going to be 23 or 22. You don't need to talk about what you're wearing or what the weather's going to be. It's all pretty much the same. It's all very livable, but also all absent of any rain. And it doesn't sound like there's any coming anytime soon from our chats with the Weather Bureau.
One thing you do not need in South Australia at all this year so far is a raincoat or an umbrella. It's just crazy, isn't it?
It's phenomenal. How long's this run going to go on for?
I had a whole bunch of stuff in the backyard that I left outside of the garden shed, and I remembered yes, I've been meaning to clean that up. I've been leaving it out there for days and thought I'd better move it because it's going to get wet and going to rust. And I thought, actually, I don't need to worry about that at all. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah,
you can just work on the basis that it's not going to rain at all for the next week.
So
having not rained for, I can't remember the last time it rained.
Properly rained?
No. Crazy.
So it's going to get to at least the middle of May. We're going to have not had a decent downpour. Not that I can recall anyway.
Nope.
Stacey Lee coming up this hour. We'll preview the week to come in state politics. She'll sit someone in the Keen Office Furniture hot seat. Stephen Rowe this half hour as well, as we'll recap the weekend in sport. To news around today and this morning, let's start at the shipyards down at Osborne, where there's going to be industrial action that takes place. 350 trades and support workers for the works going on down there are going to walk off the job. Stuart Gordon is the AMWU Assistant Secretary, and he joins us on 5AA Breakfast now. Stuart, good morning to you. Just before we get to the nature of the industrial dispute, what's the strike action today going to mean?
The guys are walking off the job. They'll be having a stop work meeting today to discuss further industrial action. It's over a 17% wage difference between their co-workers in the West.
We struggle to understand the logic behind this huge chasm between what SA workers at ASC get, Stuart, and what they're getting over in WA. How can the company justify such a big difference when are they doing pretty much the same sorts of roles?
The skills are similar, but it's more detailed work here at the Osborne Shipyard. I'll put it more like in Western Australia, it's like taking a car in and getting service. I did a service on the submarine. In South Australia at Osborne, they actually virtually cut the submarine in half, refurbish it, take all the diesel engines, motors, and get them all up to scratch, and they virtually make the ship back to brand new again, and off it goes and runs. So the skills are highly more in South Australia, and in fact they actually train the Western Australians, which is more aggravating the workers here at Osborne, because the training people are on more money than.
Yeah. So historically, has it been like cost of living related? Like, is it because in the past Perth property was more expensive? The cost of, buying products over there, was that part of it?
Yeah, that was the original take of it. But the cost of living and what's happened in Adelaide recently, or over the last couple of years, these guys are struggling with the cost of living. They've had unfortunately, I've had interference with previous governments where I've had low wage increases. So when cost of living is around a 9%, 7% in Adelaide, these guys are only receiving 2% or around 3% wage increases.
Yeah, right.
Which even made the parity even less than Western Australia. More, greater in Western Australia. So over time, it's got more frustration. The other frustration as well is the CEO apparently has just had a recent wage increase, which is close to 31%. So,
and what's really the status of ASC now? Because it stood for Australian Submarine Corporation, but it was a government body, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it is still, the government is still the main shareholder of ASC. We've asked during negotiations, we've been negotiating since November with the company, or ASC management. And we've said we're open to do everything to get these guys up with the Western Australian employees, and that's including going hand in hand and talking to the government, whichever minister that may be. They have to cross over obviously in past, but obviously the Minister for Defence. And but the company has balked at that at every opportunity, so which is very disappointing. They only put it down now is 7. They've offered it up to 7% shortfall. And they just put it down for the postcode. Unfortunately, here in South Australia, should be paid 7% less than those in Western Australia, and the guys won't accept that.
Stuart, so when are you back at the negotiating table? And if that falls through, what's next?
We've got no future meetings at the moment. We'll be discussing all options with the workers as they walk off the job today, and we'll go from there. We'll probably expect.
Who's said no to having a further meeting? Is it you guys, or is it the ASC?
It's just open. We had our last meeting on Thursday where negotiations fell down, and we haven't organised a meeting since. I'm pretty sure we'll get back to discussing with the company very soon, and we'll do everything to make sure these guys get the same rates as they do in Western Australia.
Yeah, well, it does sound like you've got a bit of a point. Stuart Gordon there, the Assistant Secretary of the Australian Manufacturing Workers Union.
Sort of puts a new slant on the brain drain, doesn't it?
Yeah, also. Yeah.
All right, let's get into some other things that are knocking around this morning, including the fallout out of Western Australia, where a boy of 16, who was known to authorities for being radicalised online, had plotted a jihad attack, was killed after stabbing a stranger in a Perth Bunnings car park. You've heard a little bit about this on 5AA News across the morning. There's going to be a lot that comes out of this from the perspective of social media, how red flags are reacted to by the authorities we charge with our safety and security in Australia as well. This young person was armed with a 30-centimetre kitchen knife on Saturday night. He'd been 2 years ago, as a 14-year-old, enlisted in a de-radicalisation program to curb his extreme views, which was clearly unsuccessful. The high school student was not a member of the local Muslim community, but had converted to Islam. And again, the police have been quick to say this is an issue that came about because of materials that are available online. Here's Cole Blanche, the West Australian Police Commissioner.
All police around the country have what is called the Countering Violent Extremism program for those that are exhibiting behaviours that might be religious or issues motivated concerns. We do have young people in those programs that have exhibited those behaviour. Again, this 16-year-old Caucasian male was part of that program.
And here's the Western Australian Premier, Roger Cook.
At this stage, we know that this individual acted alone, was a very troubled individual, and we will continue to make sure that we address it as a homicide incident, and the police will undertake that investigation. If they make further calls as a result of that investigation, that's up to them.
We touched on this right at the start of the program too. The local Muslim community were aware of this guy because he was knocking around preaching the most extreme version of their beliefs.
I think they regarded him as a pest and an embarrassment, and they were the ones who were among the very first to ring the police because he sent messages through with his sort of warped grab bag of different Islamic terms, and said he was off to launch his own private holy war in the Bunnings car park. And the Muslim leadership of Perth went, we're going to get straight onto the police about this.
And again, they didn't do this 2 weeks ago. They did it 2 years ago, hence why he was in the de-radicalisation program. So there are lots of opportunities for intervention, and you could say, well, there was the method of intervention that exists, the de-radicalisation program. It just didn't de-radicalise him.
No.
It didn't work. And so that's how we got to a situation where some bloke going to a 24-hour gym got stabbed in the back on Saturday night in Perth.
Unbelievable. And apparently there's 4 young people in Perth who are on this program. I read over the weekend, but apparently
there's equivalent programs here in South Australia.
Yeah. I don't know how many people are on it, but there's information about how it works. Where there's also a de-radicalisation in prisons program that's used here in South Australia. That was a huge thing in New South Wales because that big plot to bomb the MCG, the ATO, the Harbour Bridge. There are about 11 people involved in that one. And they all wound up together in the Goulburn Supermax, and they were in there with a whole bunch of other reprobates, including the gang rapists from Western Sydney, who were also quite radicalised and got it into their warped minds that they were somehow martyrs of some religious sort of plot to marginalise them, as opposed to just garden variety sex offenders, and all these mad blokes ended up sitting basically in the same prison, sort of chatting away about everything they like. So these clusters that form, it's really hard to monitor it.
We have asked the Education Minister for a statement regarding South Australians that may or may not be inside the radicalisation program here in SA, how many there are, and what we know of them.
Well, there definitely would be some.
We know they've gone through the courts.
Yeah, correct.
We've spoken to Sean Fuster about it in the past. So, yeah. And they generally are really young people. There might be a bit unfair calling Bernard Hill a that guy, but I reckon that's the way a lot of people will think of him. Bernard Hill is a British actor who died overnight, best known for his supporting roles in Titanic and Lord of the Rings. His IMDb reads his 2 most famous roles are in 2 of the highest-grossing movie franchises. Well, Lord of the Rings is a franchise. Titanic at the time was the highest-grossing film of all time. He was the captain of the Titanic. And who, in a very memorable scene from that movie, went down with the ship holding on to the. He was still up in the on the bridge, and he went down with the ship. He was Theoden in Lord of the Rings, who had been manipulated and featured significantly in the storyline of Lord of the Rings. He's speaking here about his time working with James Cameron on Titanic in that iconic role.
When he went down on one of the dives to the wreck, he said, "Right, I want to go to the left." It was with a French crew, and he said, "I want to go off to the left." And they said, no, we should go off to the right. He said, no, I know where we are. We'll go to the left. You went to the left, and that's where the guy thought they were on the other side of the ship. But Jim knew exactly where they were. And if you go to the left, that's when you come to the wheelhouse and over there and whatever he was looking for. And afterwards, they asked him, and he said, there's a little break in the rail. And I knew because that's where we were, because of that little break in the rail. I mean, phenomenal.
Bernard Hill, he died overnight at the age of 79. A few Dutton's texts coming through.
Quite a lot about the situation with the Elizabeth v Fitzroy game. 516 points to 0. One of the Fitzroy forwards kicking 29 goals. Still hard to wrap your head around that. I've coached footy and I love to win, but if I was the Fitzroy coach, I would have approached the other coach and umpires at three-quarter time and suggested, look, let's mix the teams in together and have a bit of fun. Come on, this isn't the AFL. It's about developing young kids and footballers as people. When a side gets flogged like that, less blokes turn up next week, and soon it's all over for the ones that really want to be there. One here saying, talking about worst losses that people have ever been involved in. Josh says he played hockey, and once they lost 21-0. That's a pretty big score in hockey, isn't it?
See, I reckon it'd be really off if the bloke who scored the 21st goal ran around pumping his fist.
Oh, yeah.
There's just a level of rubbing it in that starts showing a total disrespect to your opponent, I think.
One here saying...
Or the lady, I didn't catch if it was a man or a woman playing hockey, of course.
Yeah, I don't know from the name. Gav says if those 82 goals were scored in an AFL game at the Adelaide Oval, it would have gone for more than 13 hours if everybody came off after a goal was scored.
Imagine all the goal reviews.
Yeah, and then you have to wait for the ads as well.
Exactly.
Wait for the little white light to come on in the middle. It would be a long day.
It'd still be going.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, let's check traffic thanks to Louver House, the leaders in turning your outdoor space into a great entertainment area with an opening and closing roof.
In Alberton, there's a crash on Grand Junction Road at Port Road. Look out for works at Lockleys on Henley Beach Road near Douglas Street. Speeds are at 40 both ways there. Same too at O'Halloran Hill on Majors Road near the Southern Expressway. And in Semaphore, speeds are at 25 in both directions along Military Road near Hart Street for works. Check your speed or Denga Road, Wollonga. Switch to AGL Electricity and you can receive a $200 bill credit on an electricity plan. Switch to AGL today. Full T's and C's at agl.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Matthew Pantelis.
This latest assault on our trains, a 17-year-old girl travelling with her boyfriend set upon by 3 other girls. She's been listening. The mum, she wants to remain anonymous, so we're going to call her Claire.
The things that we'll feel in the next sort of couple of weeks and months will be the stress of the whole situation.
Matthew Pantelis.
You wouldn't think that these kids would be targeting people on that particular train.
Weekday mornings from 9 on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Join over 60,000 Adelaide homes and say yes to lowering your energy bills with Yes, your energy saving solutions. To beat the summer heat, Yes can connect you with a new air conditioner thanks to the SA government initiative called REPS. Yes is offering eligible concession households a fully installed 2.6 kilowatt Rinnai system for only $8.99. Yes, $8.99. For T's and C's on this unbeatable offer from Your Energy Saving Solutions, go to yess.net.au.
G'day everyone, Cornsey here. Now I know a great team and I see one, and the South Australian hydraulic team I rate the highest is BL Shipway. The Shipway team are the best in the business. They've been looking after your hydraulic and pneumatic needs since 1953 with brands like Ryco, Rexroth, Enerpac, Hydac, Oilpath, EasyFit and many more. If you can't get to them, they'll send a Ryco 24/7 van to you anytime, anywhere. blshipway.com.au, a South Australian team you can count on.
Having your own patch of land is the great Aussie dream. One of life's simple pleasures is mowing that patch. Now, mowing might not be a weekly task at this time of year. In fact, good luck if you've got anything growing with the lack of rain we've had. But you can always give it some love with a little help from Stanford Mowers. They've been helping South Aussies take care of their patch of land for years and years. They don't have a warehouse full of other stuff to sell, just mowers, that's it, and the best garden power tools available. And have you heard about their massive range of battery-powered garden tools? They've got all the power of your old petrol tools now too. So keep your patch looking great, even as we move towards winter, with a range of premium brands at Stanford Mowers. Go see them at 590 Main North Road, Jeps Cross, or check out stanfordmowers.com.au.
Don't miss your chance to grab a run-out deal at Formula Honda. Enjoy run-out prices on the Honda HR-V while stocks last. An effortlessly stylish, next-generation hybrid with intuitive safety technology from just $43,900. Plus, score a deal on the iconic Honda Accord with a 7-year warranty, 7 years roadside assist, and 5 standard low-price services. Run into Formula Honda while the run-out deals last. Glen Osmond Road, Glen Osmond, or North East Road, Modbury.
It's a frightening thought, but what if you lost the capacity to manage your financial affairs? If you're not at the helm, who makes medical or health decisions? Who controls the family trust? From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers will answer your questions and help carry out your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com. That's donlanlawyers.com. Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Hyundai's SUV sale is on now with 2K factory bonuses on Santa Fe. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
26 minutes after 7, we've got tickets to give away if you want to get along to see Audra McDonald, the most awarded performer in Broadway history, at Her Majesty's Theatre this Wednesday night. We've got a double pass to give away right now. First caller through at 8223 0055. You can get tickets otherwise at adelaidefestivalcentre.com.au. 8223 0055. Get calling and you'll be off to see Audra McDonald on Wednesday night.
Stephen Rowe on 5AA Breakfast.
Good morning! Feels a bit flat on a Monday morning not having the footy to talk about, but there was a big weekend of sport otherwise. Rowie, good morning to you.
Oh, not me, Pembo and Will. Good morning. I still have the afterglow of that Crows 30-point win over Port. I know Thursday seems a long time ago, but the fish jumped in the boat on Saturday. Crows have won 3 of their last 4. They found their game, no question about that. It's been building. Back 6 was superb. We know all of that. They got Murray on the horizon. Schomburg in the sample was just electric. Dowling's going to be great. And they got a banged-up Lions Mother's Day. Now, I only just worked this out because Jody said, have you booked anything for Mother's Day? And I did. And then I said, well, I can't get there. Why do the Crows always get Mother's Day booking?
Because they always get a crowd. The Crows get punished because they always get a crowd. Always have and always will.
I think a lot of people treat it as their Mother's Day event, though, going to the football with Mum.
We did last year, but this doesn't work for every family.
No.
Nah.
Well, no, not every family likes football, for starters.
Yeah,
That's it.
I don't love it.
Nah.
Well, the timing of it's bad because you can't really have lunch, and if you had dinner after the game, it'd be late, and it's a Sunday night, it's sort of the game wrecks both lunch and dinner.
Anyway, we got what we got. Port, on the other hand, the fallout for them, I think, continues. They're going to have another Connor Rosie, Coody, Woody, Woney, Willie. They've got Aaliyah back. They've got Geelong and Geelong. The game waits for no one. It just doesn't get any easier, does it? Unbelievable. And now, listen, last week, I think everyone said the ladder was pretty much set. We're 8 rounds in. I know Swans, Geelong, Melbourne and GWS look locks, but the next 4, Essendon, Freo, Port, Carlton, when any of those 4 strike a bit of trouble with a run, Collingwood are there, that are 9th. Suns and Bulldogs, no chance. Now, I know I'm putting the cart before the horse here. Brisbane, I think, is shot. They're done. Put a fork in them. The only other team other than Collingwood that could jump in is the Crows. Have you seen their run up to the bye?
What is it, Brisbane, Collingwood the next 2 weeks?
Then West Coast?
Yeah. Then Eagles, Hawks, Tigers, Swans. They'll beat them at home because that's the hairy chess game. They could be 8 and 6. And then it's game on. So,
mate, seriously. Don't get ahead of yourself, right?
Sorry, fair call. No, great advice. Great advice, Pembo. Far be it for me to be emotionally charged about anything like this.
Mate, you must just be waking up this morning, life is good, spring in your step, smelling the roses after I saw you yesterday at Unley, watching your lad play, and he was instrumental in the Eagles' terrific but deeply irritating win over the Double Blues. Sometimes footy just works out perfectly, doesn't it? You've gone from Thursday night to Sunday afternoon watching your son carve up at Unley.
Yeah, look, and you've got to, and it's like life. You've got to enjoy the good times because the bad's coming. So when it's good, enjoy it and just get whatever you can down your tonsils, which I did yesterday, Bembo. Well done. See it for. We got Treaders and Cornsey to wrap it all up. We'll speak to both clubs. Big show.
Very philosophical Stephen Rowe this morning on a Monday morning. That'll be thousands of years at sort of like, Plato's lost dialogue. It'll be, there was this philosopher Rowe who said, enjoy when it's good because the bad's around the corner, so fill your gills. And someone will say that.
Did Plato say fill your gills?
It's something similar, I think.
He said it in ancient Greek.
Yeah, whatever they were drinking in ancient Greece. 5AA News Time. Stacey Lee in the studio in just a moment.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny and 22 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Lucy Loken.
Chipped windscreen? RAA approved repairer Complete Windscreens repairs it from just $99. Find the big red koala.
Hundreds of AUKUS workers are walking off the job at Osborne this morning over pay and working conditions. They're demanding a 17% pay rise, the same as their WA counterparts, who they actually train. Stuart Gordon from the AMWU has told David and Will they're at a stalemate.
They've offered up to 7% shortfall, and they just put it down for the postcode. Unfortunately, here in South Australia, should be paid 7% less than those in Western Australia.
The strike has just kicked off at the naval shipyards. The federal government is forecasting bigger budget deficits over the next 4 years. Next week's budget will show $25 billion in revenue, which is less than expected. The windfall is unlikely to be enough to cover all the government's expenses. The cooler months in South Australia create ideal conditions for wild mushrooms to grow, but SA Health are warning us of the dangers of eating poisonous types, such as the death cap mushrooms. Chief of Public Health Dr Nicola Spurrier has a message for those interested in foraging.
We know that there is a bit of a fad for foraging and to be going out and looking for mushrooms to eat. I think it's very important for parents to check your backyard on a regular basis. Once we start to get some rain, you'll see these mushrooms popping up.
2023 saw the highest number of hospitalisations for mushroom poisoning in at least a decade. Australians will be given a new training pathway to enter the electric vehicle industry with the establishment of the nation's first TAFE Centre of Excellence. The Canberra facility will teach technicians and mechanics to work on EVs. It'll be run in conjunction with the Australian National University and manufacturers, including Tesla. Horror floods have hit Brazil, killing at least 60 people. Tens of thousands of people have been rescued in the Rio Grande do Sul region. This woman told the BBC she's lost all her possessions.
My house is now filled with water. We lost everything we had, years of work.
The brazen daylight shooting attempt at a Green Hill Road business on February 26 still remains under investigation, but the Advertiser revealing today that a person of interest in the shooting has dangerous links to gangs. 2 shots were fired at the owner of the NDIS-registered disability care provider Better Care Australia in the car park. A luxury Mercedes was hit by the shots, but no one was injured. Police say they have discovered physical evidence which links a male to the scene, but he has not yet been charged with any wrongdoing. The man has suspected ties to Hells Angels and Street Gang 051, which is one of 2 currently feuding gangs. And scientists are raising concerns a viral strain of bird flu could leap to humans. The strain has killed thousands of animals worldwide, and a man has also fallen ill with the virus in the United States. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors. Gliderol.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Lucy. Let's start with some motorsport. A huge result for Lando Norris at the Miami Grand Prix in the last half hour, winning his first ever race. The 24-year-old Brit holding on to beat Max Verstappen.
But here in the checkered flag, Norris trumps Verstappen and wins the Miami Grand Prix and wins the Grand Prix for the first time in his career. Lando has landed.
Yeah, Charles Leclerc was third, while Oscar Piastri was 13th, and fellow Aussie Dan Ricciardo was 15th. Western Bulldogs coach Luke Beveridge is expecting to come under plenty of scrutiny this week following last night's 7-point loss to Hawthorn. It's the Dogs' fourth defeat in 5 games. Beveridge says the outside noise won't distract his players, who he insists are on the same page.
We know that unless you're winning games of footy, you're always vulnerable to media scrutiny, and so we just expect it. It's the nature of the industry.
2 other games yesterday. Fremantle 54-point winners over Richmond, while Brisbane beat Gold Coast by 34 points in the late game at the Gabba. Well, Liverpool has bounced back to the winners list following an emphatic 4-2 win against Tottenham. The Reds delighting home fans with 4 goals inside the hour.
Elliott to the top corner, and a day that Liverpool rediscover how to take their chances.
Audio there thanks to Optus. In other matches, Chelsea jumped up to 7th with a 5-0 thrashing of West Ham, while Brighton beat Aston Villa 1-0. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thank you, Tommy. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Speak to the Adelaide Convention Centre and let them elevate your vision for your next event or function.
Got a breakdown at O'Halloran Hill on the Southern Expressway just before Majors Road, causing delays for city-bound. Look out for works at Ottaway on Eastern Parade near May Terrace. Speeds are at 40 both ways there. Same too at Golden Grove on Golden Grove Road near Einstein Drive. And in Semaphore, speeds are at 25 in both directions along Military Road near Hart Street for works. Check your speed, Port Road Aldinga. To celebrate their 16th birthday, Anytime Fitness are offering a $200 club voucher to new members in May. Sign up online or in-club. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automaster's technician.
Sunny and 22 today, sunny 23 tomorrow, then partly cloudy and 23 for both Wednesday and Thursday. Right now it's still 9 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
The biggest threat to your business isn't your competition. It's cybercrime. Cybercrime threats impacting Australian businesses large and small continues to grow year on year. One call to one solution will put your business in a safe place and save you from the devastating consequences of cybercrime. It's the smartest, most cost-effective business decision you'll ever make. Stay safe and protected. Get in touch with One Solution. onesolution.net.au, a Platinum Telstra partner.
In tough times, it's the simple things that make a big difference. Like $19 schnitzel days at the Birkenhead Tavern, Excelsior and the Lighthouse Wharf. We know the humble schnitty can't fix all our problems, but we do know it'll put a smile on your dial. $19 schnitty, Mondays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays at the Birkenhead Tavern, Excelsior and the Lighthouse Wharf. Making the world a better place, one schnitty at a time. Got to start somewhere. You just know it's a Barreau Hotel.
Now, I'm sure you all know what a swear jar is. In some homes it's fuller than others, but here's a swear jar that's full of goodness. Coins. It's the swear jar at Bi-Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, full of pledges and promises from the whole team at Bi-Urban of things that they swear to do for you.
So here's one sent to us straight from the Bi-Urban swear jar from Laura, the in-house interior designer. Laura, new to the team, extremely talented. Laura swears to work closely with you to bring your ideas to life and help give you all the inspiration you need when designing your new Bi-Urban bathroom.
And here's one from the main guy, Coxie, David Cox himself. Dave swears to be available to work through any issues should they arise and to deliver a positive outcome.
For a team that swears to deliver on quality and service, see Bi-Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts.
Humans once spent hours starting fires, scrubbing dishes and washing laundry until appliances made it easy. Even choosing your appliance is easy thanks to Adelaide Appliance Gallery. They make life easier with the best advice, the best appliances and the best deals on SMEG. Choose from SMEG's range of kitchen appliances and you'll save up to $3,000. Make your life easier with Adelaide Appliance Gallery, Payneham Road, St Peters.
Keen Office Furniture and Keen Education Furniture have the latest in office and education furniture all in one showroom. And the Keen staff love furniture. So whilst your colleagues talk politics at the water cooler, the Keen team discuss full office fit-outs and ergonomic chairs. Except last week when Jackie asked Shane if he used to ride a horse to school before the tram came into operation in 1929. Nice one, Jackie. Keen delivers and sets up furniture at schools and workplaces in Glenelg and all over SA. Keen Office Furniture and Keen Education Furniture. Leaders in office and education furniture.
Join the great cover-up and get a Walco Guardian pool cover. Made right here in SA, a Walco Guardian pool cover will preserve your chemicals, keep your water clean, and you won't need to run your pump. Put your pool to bed for winter. Visit walco.com.au.
Hyundai's SUV sale with up to $1,500 in factory bonuses on Tucson. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
21 minutes to 8. We're joined in the 5AA Breakfast studio by Stacey Lee, who you can watch along on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream, putting someone in the Keen Office Furniture hot seat this morning. Keen Education Furniture leading the way in office and education furniture right here in South Australia. Good morning to you, Stacey.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
We are good, thank you, Stace. How's life? All good?
Good. I was sort of expecting things to settle down now after Gather Round and Live and Fringe and Adelaide Festival, but no, Tasting Australia on the weekend. Another great event that's on in SA.
It's nice. We went in there on Saturday afternoon. Yeah. Very good.
How good is it?
Yeah, it's a very nice setup.
Yeah, I'll be broadcasting from there on Wednesday afternoon.
Are you really?
Yeah.
I guess as a sacrifice you're going to have to make as a broadcaster, you're probably going to have to eat some of the food.
I know. It is tough. It's really tough to have to keep up with that.
Yeah.
But
you can't get bad food there, I don't think.
No.
They haven't got any. They've only got good food.
You'd struggle to find some bad food there.
Right.
It was really cool on Friday. I got invited to a dinner and, we were sitting there and it was the Barossa Heroes dinner and we were eating some beautiful pork and eating some nice cheese and fresh fermented butter with porcini mushroom dust on top and all this stuff. And then the man across from me was the farmer.
Oh, really?
The dairy man in the Barossa. It was his butter, it was his cream, it was his cheese, it was his pork. I thought this is only in Adelaide. Only in South Australia.
That's fantastic.
That market they have every Saturday in Angaston. I love that market.
Yeah.
I've only been a couple of times, but you walk in and like there's there were kids in the car park selling ducks, like actual live ducks. I was like, wow, that's pretty serious.
Good
luck
on the way to school, kids.
Yeah, that's right. Good luck with the ducks.
Good luck with the ducks. Look, I think the new police minister, Dan Cregan, might need a bit of luck getting his ducks in a row ahead of police EBA time. There's been some reporting out over the weekend. The Liberal parties put a release out to the media today about a Premier's task force. This was launched in 2022, just after the election. And I think the intention of the task force, or was it 23? It was last year. Anyway, it's finished. The task force completed its work. 22. It went on for a year or so. So the task force has finished its work, but we haven't seen the report yet. The point of this was to properly look at SAPOL resources to make sure we have enough police officers in the jobs where we need them to make sure that it's not an election issue every 4 years. It's not one party promising 20 extra police officers than the other, just to make sure it's not a political football.
Not some bidding war.
Yeah. So I don't know why this report hasn't been released. Now, look, Dan Cregan's only been in this job for, a month? Not even? A couple of weeks. He's read the report. But where is it, is my question. Why haven't we seen it yet?
Well, I think part of the problem with it might be the huge challenges they're facing meeting their recruitment targets and dealing with attrition, because they're clearly not recruiting enough people to replace those who leave the force for retirement or just because they're fed up and they want to do something else. So maybe they haven't been able to get a full picture of exactly what it is that they're up against, or maybe the government's just been sitting on its hands a bit with it.
Well, I don't know why. I think we all understand that. The issues hiring people to be police officers, to be nurses, to be teachers, to be tradies, brickies at the moment. We need people everywhere. But that doesn't mean they can't be releasing this report.
No.
Maybe
they don't want to, because it will show exactly how big the problem is.
That they haven't reached the targets. And in fact, I think it's less about reaching new recruitment targets and now more about keeping police officers, because they're losing them quicker than they can fill the jobs.
Would we buy that if the explanation was that the release of such information would undermine operational integrity?
No.
They'd say because the rumours have always been staffing levels on certain key shifts, they're not always filled.
Yeah.
Yep.
That became a huge issue when the Adelaide shoplifting story took off.
Frundle Mall, yep.
Because we were getting... there was information circulating as to exactly how many police were tasked
Yeah.
with responding to specific shoplifting instances in the city, and the numbers that were being put to us were pretty remarkable. So, yeah, but maybe it'd be funny though if something that was initially billed as more transparency, take the politics out of it, ended up being they sat on it for operational reasons.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it?
Well, that's the point of doing these things. And
Yeah.
how long did they spend on it? The chief executive of the Premier's department was on this committee. It was Grant Stevens. It was the police union. It was a government representative. And so I don't understand why we haven't been able to see it, even if they need to redact a few of the numbers. So, but I don't think there are people who are going to who are going to steal from a shop in Rundle Mall are reading through government reports noting how many police officers are short in South Australia. So I think this is going to become an issue once the EBA negotiations heat up. I know they're in negotiations now, working on better pay, better conditions, and some sort of incentives to try and keep police officers in their jobs for longer. They need to be looking at regional recruitment as well as city-based recruitment, because I think at the moment it's tough to get young people into the force who want to move regional. Which is an issue in itself. Once this EBA heats up, I think there's going to be an extra amount of pressure on the new Police Minister, Dan Cregan, to try and get it sorted. And whether or not the government likes it or not, whether or not it's fair as well, if there is any industrial action, it will be seen as an indictment on the Malinowskis government. We saw the teachers towards the end of last year. I know the train drivers is sort of out of the government's control at the moment. You were just talking to the AMWU about ASC workers, which isn't the state government.
Well,
but when there's
real danger
strike action, it looks upon the state government. People look at the state government, even if it's not fair to.
One of the first strikes I covered was 100 years ago now, and it was led by one of the most effective and likeable union leaders South Australia's ever seen, Peter Alexander, who was the former head of the police union, police association, and poor old Wayne Matthew was the police minister in the Brown government. And I think at the start of the dispute, the cops were asking for like 10%, and by the end of the dispute, the government gave them like 16. You've never seen a more spectacularly mishandled industrial campaign by the government. I mean, the cops just played the government off a break. And the thing is, the one type of industrial dispute where the union is always in the box seat is anything involving the police.
Because the public
go, they, you
Yeah.
can't pay them enough.
Yeah.
I actually think, as much as people think this is hypocritical, given we've been fairly critical at times of the tactics of various unions, this is kind of the system working. This is how it's designed to work. At the moment, we have historically low unemployment, and we have labour force shortage across a whole bunch of sectors. This is the time that everyone, whether you're a unionised workforce or an individual worker, has bargaining power. And I actually think, to give the government some cover, this is not necessarily the case of unions getting out of control and unruly. I think this is just the state we are in a macroeconomic sense. We're going to get a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone privately should be saying,
Well,
I could work somewhere else.
Yes, and get more money.
Get more money, or as a lot of people are doing, they're not getting more money, they're getting work from home, or all those sort of things. So I kind of think they're a bit, the government as a negotiator in these things are a bit of a victim of the circumstance, as opposed to,
the other thing too, the cost of living is a huge issue. How's this? I went to my local Drake's on Saturday to buy a cabbage. I just needed some cabbage for a meal that I was making
purple?
Saturday night. No, just a normal,
regular cabbage,
regular green cabbage, not a Savoy cabbage, not a red cabbage, just a routine green cabbage. Guess how much the cabbage cost?
Oh, don't. This is not a head of lettuce for $8, is it?
Half a cabbage was $5.95, and it was the smallest, most miserable cabbage you've ever seen in your life. A full cabbage was $9.95. And I thought, well, I'm not paying $6 for half. I'll buy the whole cabbage. The cabbage, seriously, it was the size of smaller than a rock melon. And I was looking at, I came around to Cone and said, this bloody cabbage cost $10. I could have bought a T-shirt that would last me the rest of my life for $10.
Oh, it was a bloody good slaw.
$10 for a cabbage.
Was it a slaw?
Yeah, it's outrageous.
No, it was just a go with some tacos.
Oh.
It is
just a little. I needed like half a cup of cabbage.
Can we go back in time and cancel this conversation, because the RBA are meeting a little bit later today. They don't need to hear any of this.
No, well, it's true.
Yeah, can we just pretend none of this ever happened?
Sure.
Yeah. So
no one bought the cabbage. All right.
I will say though, the difference with let's get back to the point. Yes, cabbage. Sorry for your loss of that $10.
No, but I'm making it in an industrial sense, and it's the same for the guys at Osborne. You know, it was, hang on a minute. Like, if I'm paying $10 for a cabbage, can I have a proper pay rise, please?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Cabbageonomics.
Well, let's get the AMWU back on the line and give them another angle to go with today when they meet with the federal government. The difference between training up police officers and other industries in South Australia is we all pay to train police officers. If you're a nurse or a teacher, you go to university, so you pay for your own education. But with police officers, they go through a 9-month recruitment process that's run by SAPOL, and so we, the taxpayer, all pay for it. So there should be an incentive, a further incentive, to keep those police officers in that job, because we, as taxpayers, have invested in them, and I think we should be making sure we keep them in those jobs.
It's a really good point.
Totally.
Who do we put in the Keen Office Furniture hot seat this week then, Stacey?
I know he's new to the job, but I think it's new Police Minister Dan Cregan. I think he has to release this report, and I think these EBA negotiations have to be swift.
All right, good stuff. See how he goes.
Excellent
First time in the hot seat. He hasn't been in the hot seat before, has he?
I don't think so. I'm going to have to start a little list.
Well, we need a little list. Like, who's been in the hot seat most often? Get a leaderboard, some stats.
Can I change my mind to the cabbage?
Yeah, you can put the cabbage in the hot seat.
Can I put the cabbage in the hot seat?
Yeah, you can put cabbages in the hot seat, just generally. Thank you, Stacey. Looking forward to the program this afternoon. Keen Office Furniture and Keen Education Furniture, leading the way in office and education furniture right here in South Australia.
Can I just say one more thing? I have Mother's Day prizes to give away all week.
Oh, excellent.
Early reminder, everyone, it's Mother's Day this weekend. If you haven't thought of a gift yet, I have presents all week. I've got Mother's Day gifts to give away all week.
You are a lifesaver. Good on you, Stacey. All right, let's check traffic. Thanks to Louver House, the leaders in turning your outdoor space into a great entertainment area with an opening and closing roof.
Look out for a breakdown at O'Halloran Hill on the Southern Expressway just before Majors Road. That's causing delays for Citybound this morning. Look out for works at Elizabeth Park on Yorktown Road near Tolmer Road. Speeds are at 40 for outbound. In Ottaway, works continue on Eastern Parade near May Terrace. Speeds also reduced there. Check your speed, Norman Road or Dinga Beach. The new Isuzu D-Max. With refreshed styling and updated tech, it's reinvigorated and ready for life. Visit your local Isuzu Ute dealer today to discover the range. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The glass bottle is back. Fleurieu Milk Company are proud to bring you milk in a glass bottle. Look for milk refill stations in your supermarket, purchase your own glass bottle, fill it, take it home, drink it, wash it, and bring it back to use again. No plastic, no waste. Just fresh Fleurieu milk in a glass bottle. It's like the good old days, but better. Look for milk refill stations in your local supermarket or visit fleurieumilkco.com.au.
It truly is a win-win. 2 grand prize homes, 2 grand prize winners. The Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery has doubled the dream with 2 life-changing grand prizes in Henley Beach. Both are mortgage-free, fully furnished and built by Scott Salisbury Homes. With over 11,000 draws, you've got a 1 in 15 chance to win. Life-changing prizes, life-changing impact. Get your tickets at homelottery.com.au. Licence M14548.
After 25 years of delivering perfect service, ACET Couriers is evolving to better reflect what they do now. And they're not just couriers anymore.
No, they're your go-to for fast, secure and reliable national transport solutions, so they are now known as ACET Transport Solutions.
Darren, Chris and the team at ACET Transport Solutions now have a fleet of over 220 vehicles. They can deliver any size parcel and any size pallet to anywhere in Australia.
But they are still very much a local family business, supporting over 25 sporting clubs in SA.
Book online in 3 simple steps at acetcouriers.com.au. Don't send it, ace it.
Gone are the days of bulky solar panels. NRG Solar is ushering in a new era of sleek, efficient solar technology. With just a few panels, harness the power of the sun like never before. The equation is simple. More efficiency, more savings. Join the revolution with NRG Solar. Discover simplicity at 1275 South Road St Mary's or online at nrgsolar.com.au. NRG Solar, for a brighter, more sustainable tomorrow.
You can do just about anything online. Shop, meet new friends, watch reruns of your favourite TV shows or movies. But there's one thing you should never do online. and that's your will. From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers can answer your questions and help carry out your final wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com. Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Hyundai's SUV sale is on now with 2K factory bonuses on Santa Fe. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
6 minutes to 8, Jade Robin out on the road for us on this Monday morning. Thanks to Dutton's, family owned and operated for 75 years. Easy to do business with. Good morning to you again, Jade.
Good morning. I'm at Linear Park this morning. It's a beautiful walking and bike track, as we know, with hundreds of people every day enjoying it. But unfortunately, the safety of the track is in the spotlight this morning. Police are hunting a man unknown to them at this stage who's been stalking and abusing women in and around the Modbury area. One victim has come forward and told Channel 9 News that he followed her and she could just feel, someone's creeping up on her, could hear the footsteps close behind her. And then when he did get up close, he just started, yelling in her ear and abusing her before running off. Now, in the past 10 days, 3 other women have come forward with similar stories, and police are urging anyone who has encountered this man to contact them immediately. Now, male or female, we know you should be able to enjoy our beautiful parklands without creeps abusing and assaulting you. I use this walking track a lot, but always when it's light and lots of people around. I spoke to several women this morning who pretty much do the same thing to make sure that they're safe. Deirdre, how often do you walk to work along Linear Park here?
Oh, I would say it varies, but sometimes 3 days a week and then sometimes 2 days a week.
And do you feel safe?
I do, yeah. I'm vigilant though. Yeah, I will always be on the lookout if there's anybody who's hanging or looking weird. But all in all, I haven't had any encounters that made me feel unsafe. And there's usually a lot of people around, so I don't feel too unsafe, really. Yeah.
What are the things that you do to make sure that you are safe?
I think it's mainly I wouldn't walk here in the dark. It would be light, and I would only feel comfortable while I know there's other cars around and other people. So I think it's the timing of it, that I make sure that I do it at a good time where I'm not vulnerable if I were alone and something were to happen. Yeah.
Caroline, you walk every morning. Do you feel safe along Linear Park?
Yeah, I feel, but I come from Brazil, so it's really dangerous place comparing to Australia. So I have the feeling they're always looking around and see what's happened. And in this part of the walk, I never saw anything.
Do you take precautions? What do you do to make sure that you are safe?
I always know what's happening around me. So, yeah, I have the feeling if I can run if something happens, but I always know who is around. And
Julie, how often are you walking the dog here on Linear Park in the mornings?
We walk every morning.
And do you feel safe?
Yes, very. There's always people out and about.
Have you ever seen anything a bit dodgy?
Not that I can recall, no.
And how many years have you been walking?
We've lived here about 2 years.
Thank you for that, Jade. Just listen to those people that Jade chatted with about walking in Linear Park. Nothing underscores, there's no simpler conversation you can have with someone that underscores the difference between living as a man and a woman. When I used to run a lot, you get talking to people about, where do you go for runs? I go here on the beach, or I go through the sand dunes there. Every conversation you have with a woman, she'd go, they would say, I don't go there at night, or I don't go through this place unless it's a busy day, or I run around this street because I avoid that area with trees. There's not been a second in my life when I've thought as a bloke about any of those things.
No.
It's just not a thing that ever occurs to you.
Well, I haven't got a running-related anecdote you'll be stunned and amazed to hear, Will, but I can remember editing the Mail, more than 10 years ago now, but there's this excellent Iranian-run kebab shop down the end of Weymouth Street, and often after the first deadline I'd sneak down there to get a kebab, but some nights they'd be shut, so I just walk down to Hindley Street on my own, and just walking around on your own in the dark as a bloke in the city, cutting through Light Square, going there sort of past the Adelaide Remand Centre to go down a laneway to get down to Yarnies. It never occurs that you're taking anything resembling a risk as a bloke.
No.
But it's a different proposition if you're a woman.
Completely. And just looking at that picture we had on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream, not picture, the video that Jade took, it's a beautiful place to go for a walk. It looks sensational. But it also, the thing that makes it beautiful, I guess, makes it inherently dangerous when you get a weirdo around, because it's the nice trees and the coverage. And it's secluded. Good report, that. Thank you. Let's take a break. 5AA News is coming up. We'll be back shortly.
Now, let's see what's in the swear jar at Bi-Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens. Oh, wrong swear jar. This is it. From Martin the Tiler, affectionately known as Millimetre Martin. He swears you'll love his millimetre-perfect craftsmanship. And here's one from Rick the Plumber. Rick swears to always clean up after himself, guaranteed. For a team that swears to deliver on quality and service, see Bi-Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts.
It all started in the back shed. Maybe it started early. Or late. Either way, the Olympic Industry sale means there's no need to wait. With big savings on our entire range of SA-engineered sheds, garages, carports and verandas, you can afford to start something big, tough, or tasty in your own backyard. Start something with the Olympic Industry sale. On now.
Local news and information first. This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Sunny and 22 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Lucy Loken.
Make RAA approved windscreen repairer, Complete Windscreens, your insurer repairer of choice. Visit completewindscreens.com.au.
Western Australian Police Minister Paul Papalia has put the spotlight on radicalisation of individuals after a knife attack in Perth's south. A teenager stabbed a member of the public in a Bunnings car park before he was fatally shot by police on Saturday night. Authorities have confirmed the 16-year-old boy was part of an online program to counter radicalisation. At this stage, it hasn't been declared a terrorist incident, but the investigation is ongoing. Mr Papalia says the de-radicalisation program is one of the only initiatives focusing on the issue.
Changing someone who's been radicalised and attempting them to get back into a more reasonable pathway. It is a good program in that regard, because in the absence of it, there's no response to that sort of thing.
Meanwhile, a 38-year-old man is expected to be charged on summons after allegedly disrupting a large church service in Melbourne's north while armed with scissors. Police say the man was seen behaving erratically outside a Greek Orthodox church on Friday morning. The Victorian man was spoken to and assessed by police, who say nobody was threatened or injured during the incident. A puppy and its owner were rescued from a mine shaft on the York Peninsula last night. Senior Constable Jen Cullinan says it happened at Hughes Engine House at Moonta.
Now, the pup had gone down first, slid down about 5 to 8 metres, and then the owner had attempted to rescue the dog, and he'd also became stuck. Star Group officers attended from Adelaide and belayed down to the man, bringing the man and the dog to safety just before 8 o'clock last night. The man was taken to hospital as precaution.
The puppy wasn't injured. Two 13-year-old boys have been arrested, accused of breaking into cars in Door Park this morning. A blue Hyundai sedan was found with a smashed rear window in Eyre Avenue about 1:30. Police dog Cooper searched the area and located the pair in nearby Melrose Park. They'll face the youth court in June. A national trial will attempt to improve recovery times for children who get their tonsils out. Jordan Tunbridge with the story.
More than 50,000 Australian kids get their tonsils out each year and take up to 3 weeks to recover. A group of doctors are determined to help them bounce back better and faster from the common procedure with a nationwide study. Professor Paul Lee Archer telling the Herald Sun there are many different surgical and anaesthetic techniques, but the best combination for the quickest recovery is not yet known. He will announce details of the unique and adaptable trial at an annual gathering of anaesthetists in Brisbane today.
And a new class of drug, similar to fentanyl, is making its way over Australian borders. In October, 22 postal packages containing nitazene were discovered by Border Force. The deadly synthetic opioid has been linked to 20 overdoses in Western Sydney last month. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderroll Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderroll.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Lucy. Adelaide's players will train around midday today as they prepare for this Sunday's clash at home against Brisbane. The Crows are back in some form after a third win in 4 and face a Lions side ravaged by injury during yesterday's clash against Gold Coast. Brisbane lost Brandon Starcevic pre-game to a calf injury, while Darcy Gardner and Lincoln McCarthy injured their knees, while Noah Answorth was concussed. Port's players will train just after lunchtime and will be boosted by the return of defender Eyre, while captain Connor Rosie, though, is almost certain to miss with a hamstring injury. What a disaster for Aussie Oscar Piastri at the Formula One race in Miami. He's finished 13th after the front wing of his McLaren was damaged when overtaken by Ferrari's Carlos Sainz. Britain's Lando Norris taking the checkered flag ahead of Max Verstappen, while Charles Leclerc was third. To soccer, Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham have lost a fourth straight match, this time going down to Liverpool 4-2. Elsewhere, Chelsea crushed West Ham 5-0, while Brighton beat Aston Villa 1-0. Australia's Live Golf team, Ripper GC, has recorded back-to-back team victories with a win in Singapore. Cam Smith and Mark Leishman led the way, finishing tied for second at 13 under, while the individual honours went to American Brooks Koepka, who finished at 15 under. Meantime, at the PGA event in Texas, Taylor Pendrith has broken through for his first PGA Tour win. The Canadian was trailing American Ben Coles by a shot heading into the final hole. Coles, though, slipped up with a bogey while Pendrith held his nerve, tapping in for birdie on the par 5 last.
And then Pendrith for the win. What a special feeling. Your first victory on tour.
Audio there thanks to Fox. And in some tennis to finish, Andrei Rublev has won the Madrid Open, coming from a set down to beat Canada's Felix Auger-Aliassime in 3 sets. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thank you, Tom. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Speak to the Adelaide Convention Centre and let them elevate your vision for your next event or function.
In O'Halloran Hill, there's a breakdown on the Southern Expressway just before Majors Road, causing delays for citybound this morning. Slow going too at Leewood Gardens on the freeway up track just before the tunnels. It's down to 40 through there. And at Semaphore, speeds are at 25 along Military Road near Hart Street. Check your speed, Brooker Terrace, Richmond. The Australian government's tax cuts from the 1st of July aren't just for some, they're for every taxpayer. Visit taxcuts.gov.au to find out how the July 1 tax cuts will benefit you. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automaster's technician.
Sunny and 22 today, sunny 23 tomorrow, partly cloudy 23 for Wednesday and Thursday. Right now it's 12. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Keen Office Furniture and Keen Education Furniture have the latest in office and education furniture all in one showroom. And the Keen staff love furniture. So whilst your colleagues talk politics at the water cooler, the Keen team discuss full office fit-outs and ergonomic chairs. Except last week when Shane told the team the scratches on his face were from a koala he tried feeding whilst picnicking in the Adelaide Hills. Thanks, Shane. Keen delivers and sets up furniture at schools and workplaces in Mount Barker and all over SA. Keen Office Furniture and Keen Education Furniture. Leaders in office and education furniture.
It's not easy to make amazing tasting food for celiacs. Well, Danny and Shane from Gramazio Foods know it better than anyone, and that's why they spent 5 years working hard developing their Italian family recipes to the point where they could be celiac certified.
They were the providers of our meat tray on Friday. Gramazio Foods. Now, they sell gluten-free produce online and from their shop at Grove Village in Golden Grove. Now, a lot of places might sell some gluten-free products, but their store is a totally gluten-free zone. It's safe. It tastes great. In fact, Danny and Shane Gramazio guarantee it.
Try Gramazio Foods, SA's only celiac-certified food store, Grove Village, Golden Grove, and online at gramaziofoods.com.au.
The news and issues that matter to South Australia. Always Adelaide. This is 5AA.
Hyundai's SUV sale is on now with 2K factory bonuses on Santa Fe. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
8 minutes after 8. David, a feature of this program over the course of the last couple of years since Lucy's come on deck as our excellent producer.
And resident francophile.
Fluent French speaker. She's eye-rolled. She's sighed loudly.
She's guffawed.
And may have even projectile vomited a couple of times at how bad our French pronunciation of words is.
Every time we try to throw in a raison d'etre or a tout le monde or talk about our love of foie gras.
Yeah, she dies a little inside. I think
yeah.
wouldn't be too dramatic to say that.
Hates it.
A few people have texted in on the Duttons text line this morning saying, David, you've shown remarkable restraint this morning, and you should be commended, in fact, because you haven't pointed out that Lucy's had her own issues with the Spanish language, of course, which you are fluent in this morning.
Baja, California.
Baja.
As Hillary Clinton said, they go low, we go high. Next time I'm in Mexico, I'm gonna head along to Baja, California.
So what is it?
We love you, Lucy.
What is it, David?
Baja. J is H in Spanish.
What are those fizzy drinks you see in Mexican restaurants around Adelaide?
Jarritos. They are not jarritos.
But if you say jarrito to the staff, they won't know what you want.
Folks, if you're listening, next time you're at Subway ordering a 12-inch meatball sub, you want jalapenos on it, not jalapenos. Jalapenos. The ñ with a little doodah over the top, called a tilde, as in piñata, is ñ. And J is h.
J is always h?
Yep, always h.
Okay. Dutton's text line, thank you for all those texts. Dutton's
and if it's not h, it means your Spanish is completamente jodido.
The new Jet and Triton has landed. Book your test drive today. Dutton's, they're easy to do business.
That means completely stuffed. Well, there's a fair bit of consternation about the tough new restrictions that National Parks and Wildlife is flagging for access to Lake Eyre for recreational reasons. National Parks and the state government, which is backing these draft guidelines, is insisting that aside from the new ban on walking on the lake's surface, everything else in the guidelines is as it's been for years, and this includes limits on boating on the lake. Well, one group of people who aren't buying it at all are the good folks at the Lake Eyre Yacht Club, and we have their Commodore, Bob Backway, on the line now. Bob, good morning. Now, I understand over the weekend you guys have set up a new section on the club's website about your right to still have access to the lake. Do you buy this reassurance from the state government that nothing's really changed? Because based on a conversation you and I have had about this previously, it feels like the some of the local Indigenous people are getting a bit more bolshy about what you can and cannot do on the lake.
Well, you're correct there, David. It's just unbelievable. We thought we were making progress with arrangements for boating on the lake. Just a little bit of history. In 2011, we very visibly went boating to prove that the state government couldn't do anything to stop us. This is basically because a national park is a national park. It's a recreation area. But you know, it's just re-emerged recently, and it's a lot clearer than what you were saying too. Like there is just one paragraph in the new management program that clearly says that nothing is allowed to take place in the national park. You'll just be able to stand on the edge and look at it. This is just unbelievable. Like you can't even walk on a beach.
Yeah.
Like how an Australians walk.
Yeah, and you've got based on some of the photographs on your website, Bob, you get probably more than 100 people along to some of the regattas that you hold. And my understanding is that when you do this, it's not like people are uploading photographs of here I am in this spot or that spot. Like it's done with a degree of respect, and there's no damage caused to the waterways. Like you guys respect the area that you're in. Have you been able to get any clarity from the government about whether you'll still be able to sail?
Look, I don't need any clarity. It's written there in black and white. We will not be able to sail, and we will challenge that again. There's one interesting thing, and that is that when there's water in Lake Eyre, National Park have no control of it. It becomes what's called a navigable waterway, and the Department of Transport even have boating regulations for boating on Lake Eyre. So this is why they couldn't stop us in the past, and we'll be very visibly challenging it again if they try this. But really what's worrying us is this is affecting the entire tourist industry up here. And it already is, because there's, like in Flinders Ranges National Park, You now have to pay $90 a head to an Indigenous guide to take you into a place called Sacred Canyon that I first visited in 1972. And as a lovely place that's been free for all to visit. The new Eyre National Park, you have to pay $200 a head to an Indigenous guide to go in there. Now, for a family of four, that's $800. Who can afford that?
Yeah, it's a staggering amount of money. And I think, you know, given the history of use of Lake Eyre, you wouldn't want it to get to a point where it becomes some sort of money-making enterprise, or worse, you're locked out completely. We're going to talk to the government again, Bob, to see if they are going to give you guys the right to have continued access, because, you know, it sounds like it's been almost like a gentleman's agreement up there where you've been doing it. No one really has fired up too much, but it sounds like the mood might be changing a bit.
Oh, look, definitely. It's just ridiculous. Like, this government's had this agenda, this particular political party's had this agenda since 2010, when Mike Rann, the Premier at the time, made it his retirement project to get a deal done with an Indigenous group over the expansion of the Olympic Dam mine, BHP's mine there.
Yeah.
They actually pulled the rug out from underneath our local Aboriginal group here, who are really a mixture of 3 or 4 different groups, but they all grow up to the south of Lake Eyre, which was not Arabana country, but is now Arabana country, including the whole of the lake and parts of Wanganguru and Deary country as well.
Yeah, who, as you said to me the other day, have the Deary people got their own history of sailing the lake, making it something that's been there potentially for thousands of years. We'll stay in touch on this, Bob. Bob Backway, the Commodore of the Lake Eyre Yacht Club. Thank you. Interesting issue. The point about the cost of going for any of those camping trips suddenly takes on a different hue, doesn't it?
Just they won't be done by a lot of families. That's what the end
going.
result will be. We have received a statement from the Education Minister here in South Australia with regard to South Australian teens and radicalisation programs and what that entails. Of course, our focus has been sharpened on that particular service, given its failure in Western Australia, where a 16-year-old West Australian boy was shot dead by police following a stabbing at a Bunnings in Perth. Having been himself in a de-radicalisation program for 2 years, we should stress, not a member of the local Muslim community, this young boy that professed jihad and wanted to kill infidels and so forth, using the language of far extreme Islam, had just adopted it, been radicalised online, or so goes the West Australian Police's allegation. So we want to get a sense of what's happening here in South Australia. For what's happening in Perth, we head there now to catch up with Tina Altieri for 7 News there in Perth at the school the boy attended. Tina, the school and the local Muslim community, we understand, both had raised concerns about this boy, his behaviour and the things he was saying. Has the school been identified yet, though?
The school has, yes. Good morning, okay. David and Will. They have identified the school, which is in fact a top academic school here in WA, I might add, and they've now offered counselling, obviously, to staff and students who are in complete shock.
The question I think a lot of people will have, Tina, is how does a normal kid from Australian suburbia who's got no connection with Islam at all end up going down this path of like this totally warped interpretation of it, to the point where, you know, the local Muslim community are themselves concerned, so concerned that they were on the phone to police straight away on Saturday when these threats came out?
Yeah, that's exactly what police are looking into today. In fact, they've spent the last few hours speaking to the family, just trying to understand the underbelly of this case and what he'd been sort of exposed to. In fact, he'd been on the radar. The 16-year-old had been on the radar of police for about 2 years, and he'd been taking part in this de-radicalisation program that we're now starting to learn so much more about. Here's the other interesting thing about that. There are 141 people on this de-radicalisation program Australia-wide. So he was certainly on the radar of police for a couple of years. That's what we know.
141. How many were in? Do you know? Have you got any indication, Tina, from West Australian Police or the state government there about how many Western Australians are in that program?
Yeah, there are 9. There are 9 in that program currently.
Does it have
Does
it have a state-by-state breakdown, Tina? Or I guess as a WA journo, your chief interest, understandably, would be how many West Australians. You haven't got any other state-by-state.
I haven't, unfortunately, but that would be really interesting to explore. But 141 nationwide is very, very interesting. And so these are the people that are on the radar. And indeed, they knew that with this 16-year-old boy, he came to their attention when he was just 14, and they do believe he was radicalised online. And certainly, look, they've been getting a lot of intel over the past few hours from the family about how they felt about this as well.
That poor family, just shocking. You know, they lost their son to this. It's just
horrific, absolutely horrific. And I mean, you know, the wash up from this has just been terrible. Not only the obviously kids affected from the school, but also the family of the man he first stabbed. He's in hospital too. We haven't heard a lot about him. He's in a serious but stable condition with a punctured lung. And of course, those police officers who came face to face, whom he stalked when he arrived, when they arrived rather on the scene of the Bunnings car park over in Willetton, and they too are getting counselling as we speak.
I tell you what, it must be a strange thing for the people of Western Australia to comprehend, because one of the lovely things about Perth is you're part of Australia, but you're the remote part of Australia, and it must feel like people must be scratching their heads a bit, thinking this is more a story you'd expect in Sydney rather than Perth.
They really are, and this feeling of being quite shocked and overwhelmed. Surely this didn't happen. Why didn't police know about this earlier? And indeed, I spoke to the police commissioner just earlier. He says there's no way that we could have known what was happening. He wasn't known to police. Interestingly, he'd never committed any crimes, so he was not on their radar. But certainly his ideologies and what he believed in and some of the things he'd been saying caused concern. And in fact, the Muslim community had really rallied. And when they had noticed that he had made these posts talking about, I'm following the path of jihad, they were super quick to be in touch with police. And in fact, it's police who say that, they are the ones that helped stop the terror in its tracks.
I was going to say, Tina, between this and the terrible, terrible story about Callum and Jack Robinson in Mexico, it's been a pretty rotten few days news-wise in Western Australia.
It sure has. It absolutely has. A tragic few days, and everyone just, still reeling from that story as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. Tina Altieri there for 7 News in Perth. Thank you for joining us this morning.
So they're actually batting below their share of the national population in terms of, if things were evenly distributed, 141 people in the program across Australia. WA is responsible for about 11% of the national population. So you'd imagine they'd have somewhere in the order of 14 or 15 kids if it was even. They've just got 9. We've got about 8% of the population. So you'd imagine we have somewhere in the order of double figures. Again, there are local factors around culture, community, socioeconomic status and things are going to play into this heavily that mean it's not just a natural and even distribution, but there are going to be a number of kids in this program here in South Australia. We spoke with the Education Department a short time ago who provided us with a statement on this issue. Blair Boyer said, if a student at a school threatens violence or promotes a political, religious, ideological position or something is picked up on the school IT system, such as a search, the school is required to notify the incident management team as they would for any critical incident, and they then call the National Security Hotline. This triggers a tri-agency arrangement between Education and Human Services and SAPOL. The student would then work closely with a psychologist for assessment and treatment. The individual intervention is then closely monitored by 3 agencies, which is coordinated through SAPOL liaison meetings. This has been very effective, particularly given the close working relationship with SAPOL and DHS. I'm guessing that's a model that's the same right around the country.
Yeah, you'd think so.
I can't imagine we're doing anything unique.
Right.
How many kids, though, do we have in it right now?
Some of the 141.
Some of the 141.
Yeah.
All right, let's check traffic. We'll be back shortly with more. Thanks to Louver House, the leaders in turning your outdoor space into a great entertainment area with an opening and closing roof.
In O'Halloran Hill, there's a breakdown on the Southern Expressway just before Majors Road, causing delays for city bound. In Engle Farm, a burst water main on Montague Road near Fairfax Road. Slow going at Leewood Gardens on the freeway up track just before the tunnels. It's down to 40 through there. And check your speed, Main North Road, Blair Athol. This Mother's Day, Dimmicks have got the perfect gifts for mum. Get 3 for the price of 2 on the Dimmicks Top 101 books. Dimmicks, dedicated to mum this Mother's Day, this Sunday. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA Sports Show. Stephen Rowe and Tim Jennifer.
It stings, it hurts. It's 3 in a row for the Crows. You've got to say, getting more and more convincing in the wins as well. It keeps bringing back the issue of Port Adelaide not being able to lift to the high-intensity games. We've been there, done that too many times.
The 5AA Sports Show.
That's probably what's going on. I feel like Bill Murray. Feels like Groundhog Day.
Weekdays from 4 p.m. on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
2 grand prize homes. 2 grand prize winners. The Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery's 2 grand prizes in Henley Beach are life-changing. 2 fully furnished, mortgage-free Scott Salisbury homes. And both include $100,000. Life-changing prizes, life-changing impact. That means you can have your cake and eat it too. 2 grand prize homes, 2 grand prize winners. And it's never too early to buy tickets. Homelottery.com.au. Licence M14548.
Hi, supercar driver Dave Reynolds here for our mates at Toyota Forklifts. Order any new electric forklift from Toyota's massive range of walkie stackers, reach and counterbalance forklifts and go into the draw to win the ultimate supercars experience for you and 3 mates. Win 4 VIP tickets to a supercars event, accommodation, flights, hospitality, merch and more. For more details, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
T's and C's apply. Offer ends July 31st.
Let's say you've signed a building contract, work is underway on your dream home, everyone's excited, and then one day, crunch, your builder hits rock while digging your footings.
So what happens next? Well, most builders will send you a nice letter, then bump up their price with a variation.
But not Rossdale Homes. When you sign their absolute fixed price contract, there are no hidden costs or nasty surprises. The price is fixed, and that's why it's the industry's strongest contract.
So before you build, talk to Adelaide's most trusted builder, Rossdale Homes, because trust is a must.
NRG Solar knows that solar isn't just about panels. It's about future-proofing. Start your journey to self-sufficiency today. Be the visionary. Take charge. NRG Solar's new warehouse is fully stocked with a stunning range of wholesale solar and battery equipment. See it for yourself. Discover the power of solar at NRG Solar. Call 1300 858 160 or visit nrgsolar.com.au and make tomorrow brighter. That's nrgsolar.com.au.
It all started in the back shed. Maybe it started early or late. Either way, the Olympic Industry sale means there's no need to wait. With big savings on our entire range of SA-engineered sheds, garages, carports and verandas, you can afford to start something big, tough or tasty in your own backyard. Start something with the Olympic Industry sale. On now.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Hyundai's SUV sale with up to $1,500 in factory bonuses on Tucson. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
27 after 8, the phone lines are open as they've been right throughout the morning, 8223 000. You can call in and have your say, like Vic in Croydon Park. Good morning to you, Vic.
Good morning, fellas. Look, I heard something on the Outsiders program on Sunday, and I quote, "Mass unvetted immigration from the third world into Britain or any other Western or European nation will inevitably lead to tribalism and a clash of cultures, which in turn would lead to violence on the streets, not because of race, but because of culture and demographics. Once certain immigrant communities reach a critical mass, they will use all the legal institutions, etc., and other means of the Western system not to integrate themselves into the local culture, but to dominate and replace that culture with their own," unquote, from the Outsiders.
Yeah, I don't buy that in Australia, Vic. This country, you know, we've got the Bolts and the Slavs built the Snowy Mountain scheme. We've had a Vietnamese boat person in Hugh Van Lay as our governor. I think the history of Australia is one of successful integration into the Australian way of life, overwhelmingly. I mean, where's the race war happening in Australia, mate? I can't see it.
For example, my mother and father came from Germany. They came here, gave their nationality away, became Australian citizens and nationalised, and left their German stuff behind and worked here in Australia, and my father worked here as well. But at the moment, there's something wrong, and I do believe they have a point.
I think the point you're absolutely right on. I agree with David. I don't think we're there yet, but I think there are parts of Europe that are cautionary tale on this. And the UK is grappling with this at the moment, where you do get area, and France has had this issue for a long time, where there are large areas of the country that have become almost independent and self-governing, and so much so police don't go there. I'm talking France more so than the UK.
But I mean,
we're not there.
Where are those parts of Adelaide?
No, they don't exist. No, I'm not. We're not there. But because we've been largely selective and successful in, we don't have land border, for example. We can apply some science to the whole equation.
But the point, I guess, at the moment is numerically, are we taking too big a gamble, letting too many people in too fast without knowing enough about where they're all from and getting the balance wrong?
The problem is you only find out when it's too late.
Well, yeah.
It's a lagging indicator.
Yeah.
But, I don't think we're quite at the stage that some parts of Europe are yet. Tracy in North Haven, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are we?
Good, thanks, Tracy.
I had to ring up about biggest losing margins. I was lucky enough to play in the very first Wallaroos team, which is the Women's Rugby Union, and our first official match was against New Zealand. And we thought we were half a chance. We got smacked from pillar to post, 37-0.
Ouch.
Oh. Can I ask, Tracy, when you play the female version of the All Blacks, did they do the haka at the start too?
Yeah, they do. The women do a different haka than the men.
Oh, really?
But it's still damn intimidating. Because we're sitting there going, oh!
Yeah, it's full on the haka. Imagine being the first white guy to walk around New Zealand and suddenly some bloke jumps out from behind a shrub and looks at you and goes, ah!
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I might just head back to Glasgow now.
Especially when they're all 6'5" and look like they weigh 160 kilos.
What is his name?
Jonah Lomu.
Jonah Lomu.
Yeah. Tracy, we're going to send you off to the Kent Town Hotel. You got a $100 voucher coming your way. Check out the brand new award-winning Kent Town Hotels bars, restaurant, balcony, and 250-seat function room. Thank you for calling in. We're going to be talking more about the club that's inspired this story in the next half hour of the program, the Elizabeth Footy Club that lost by 82 goals. I can't even do the math. It was 500 and something points.
516.
There is a tale of redemption in amateur football in South Australia that they can draw inspiration from. We're going to be chatting with them next.
This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Sunny and 22 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Lucy Loken.
Chipped windscreen? RAA approved repairer Complete Windscreens repairs it from just $99. Find the big red koala.
The Osborne naval shipyards have been hit by strike action. AUKUS submarine workers have downed tools, demanding they be paid the same as their counterparts in WA. Stuart Gordon from the AMWU has told David and Will they get 17% more on average than South Australian workers.
The skills are similar, but it's more detailed work here at the Osborne shipyard. They actually train the Western Australians, which aggravating the work is at Osborne because they're training people who are on more money than.
Locals in the Mexican state where Australian brothers are believed to have been killed have gathered to honour the men and demand safer beaches. Jake and Callum Robinson were on a surf trip when authorities say they were likely shot during a robbery. This local says she was surfing with the brothers just days ago.
I just see them like they were asking for tacos and they were looking so happy to be here to learn about our culture. They were asking about our traditional music, like tourists sometimes are not too friendly, but they're different.
The parents' brothers have headed to Mexico and are expected to identify their bodies today. 3 people have been charged with forced robbery. Iconic landmarks around Adelaide and some regional centres will be illuminated in yellow this week to support those impacted by road trauma. It's National Road Safety Week and we're being reminded of the need to be safe on our roads. Last year, the death toll on SA roads reached 117, the highest death toll since 2010. 856 people also suffered serious injuries in car accidents. So far this year, 33 lives have been lost on our roads. And speaking of cars and roads, 2 boys have been arrested after allegedly breaking into vehicles at Door Park this morning. Senior Constable Jen Cullinan says they were called to Eyre Avenue by residents around 1:30am.
They located a blue Hyundai sedan with a smashed window. So with the assistance of police dog Cooper, patrols searched the area and they located and arrested 2 youths on Roselle Avenue at Melrose Park. The 2 boys are aged 13 from Hackham and Hunfield Heights. They've been charged with going equipped and illegal interference, and they're going to find themselves in court in June.
And Qantas will enter into a $20 million remediation program for passengers impacted by flight cancellations. Eligible customers will receive payments between $225 to $450. The airline will also pay a $100 million civil penalty once the agreement with the ACCC is approved by the Federal Court. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors. Gliderol.com.au.
And good morning, Tom Wren.
Very good morning to you as well, Lucy. The heat is set to be turned up on Western Bulldogs coach Luke Beveridge after yet another disappointing loss. The Bulldogs going down to the rebuilding Hawks by 7 points at Marvel Stadium. Brisbane beat Gold Coast by 34 points in the Q Clash last night, while in the early game Fremantle thumped Richmond by 9 goals. McLaren driver Lando Norris has secured his maiden Formula One victory, winning the Miami Grand Prix in emotional scenes this morning. A mid-race collision between Kevin Magnussen and Logan Sargent turned the race on its head, with Norris proving the main beneficiary. Norris edged ahead of his rivals and crossed the line 7 seconds ahead of the second-placed Verstappen, with Ferrari's Charles Leclerc rounding out the podium. Tosoko Brighton has beaten Aston Villa 1-0 in a bit of an upset in the EPL this morning, the home side winning a penalty which was eventually converted in the 87th minute.
Saved by Olsen, and in from the rebound. Brighton 1, Aston Villa 0. João Pedro breaks the deadlock.
Audio there thanks to Optus, but Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham were unable to capitalise on the slip-up from Villa, also going down 4-2 to Liverpool, meaning they're still 7 points behind them in 5th place. One other game overnight with Chelsea thrashing West Ham 5-0. Briefly elsewhere, silver for Australia's women's side at the Singapore Rugby Sevens. The men's side finished 4th. And Australia's 4x100 metre relay team has secured its ticket to the Paris Olympics. That was at the World Athletics Relay Championships in the Bahamas. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thank you, Tom. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Speak to the Adelaide Convention Centre and let them elevate your vision for your next event or function.
Couple of burst water mains to look out for. One at Ingle Farm on Montague Road near Fairfax Road. 2 lanes are closed there for city-bound and speeds are at 40. Another at Tatachilla on Tatachilla Road near California Road. Speeds are at 40 both ways there. In Semaphore, speeds are at 25 for works on Military Road near Hart Street, affecting both directions. And speed cameras out today at Crittenden Road, Findon. Lux Cruise deals have docked at Flight Centre. Save over $4,000 on a 14-night Viking Europe cruise from $5,495 per person. Book now. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automasters technician.
Sunny and top of 22 today, sunny tomorrow, top of 23, and 23 for Wednesday and Thursday, partly cloudy. Right now it's 15. More news as it happens on 5AA.
In tough times, it's the simple things that make a big difference. Like $19 schnitzel days at the Birkenhead Tavern, Excelsior and the Lighthouse Wharf. We know the humble schnitty can't fix all our problems, but we do know it'll put a smile on your dial. $19 schnitty, Mondays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays at the Birkenhead Tavern, Excelsior and the Lighthouse Wharf. Making the world a better place, one schnitty at a time. Got to start somewhere. You just know it's a Barreau Hotel.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. Precise Plumbing and Electrical. On time, on budget, on the job.
Or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
Humans once spent hours starting fires, scrubbing dishes, and washing laundry, until appliances made it easy. Even choosing your appliance is easy thanks to Adelaide Appliance Gallery. They make life easier with the best advice, the best appliances, and the best deals on Smeg. Choose from Smeg's Diamond series of dishwashers and you'll save up to $500. Make your life easier with Adelaide Appliance Gallery, Payneham Road, St Peters.
Over 60,000 Adelaide homes have said yes to saving money on their energy bills with Yes, your energy saving solutions. What's keeping you? Did you know that you might be eligible for a rebate on a new appliance like a dryer or fridge? You might even qualify for a purchase you've already made. Just visit the Yes website for a list of appliances and the size of the cashback available. For T's and C's on this unbeatable offer from Your Energy Saving Solutions, go to yes.net.au. That's yes.net.au.
Now, it's always handy to have a mate with a bus, a van, a truck or a ute, but they rarely have all four and they can't promise 5-star service, and that's why Eyre's Truck Rental Adelaide is the best mate you can have.
They've been SA's go-to vehicle rental company for decades, helping work go smooth and holidays go ahead. So whether you need a bigger set of wheels to get the job done or just to get away, they have you covered.
Great family business, wonderful people. Will and I were in there only a few weeks ago. With their fleet of vans, buses, utes and trucks you can drive with a car licence, they're sure to help you turn got a problem into not a problem.
Eyre's Truck Rental Adelaide opens 7 days at 416 Port Road, West Hindmarsh. Book online at avis.com.au or call 8241 5200.
The business sector has had incredible advances in AI. One solution can show you how AI can streamline your business, introducing efficiencies you never thought possible. You'll save money and time, unlock new growth avenues, and you'll be keeping up with the rest of the business community. With AI and One Solution, you can innovate, optimize, and excel across every facet of your business. One Solution will show you how. onesolution.net.au, a Platinum Telstra partner.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Hyundai's SUV sale is on now with 2K factory bonuses on Santa Fe. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
19 to 9, just some breaking news with regard to Qantas. Remember the ghost flights brouhaha? They were selling tickets to seats on planes that were never going to take off. They didn't exist.
The one problem with the tickets for those flights, there were no flights.
There were no flights. There were seats and tickets, but no flights. Well, Qantas has reached an agreement with the ACCC to settle the lawsuit against them. Under the settlement, Qantas will institute a remediation program for affected passengers, payments ranging from $225 to $450. Now, we were just talking during the news. There must be people who are party to this action that know they were on a cancelled ghost flight.
Yeah, have we got? Is there anyone listening to the show now who knows that they were on one of these non-existent flights? Who's now in line for their share of $20 million?
Yeah, you might get somewhere between $225 and $450. We'd love to hear from someone. How did you know? How did you find out? And so forth. That'll be about $20 million of an $120 million settlement. The other 100 is a civil penalty to the federal government. So the federal government's made $100 million. Basically, it's like equivalent of a speeding fine. Qantas says it intends to commence the remediation program in advance of the court approval process. So they're going to start that as quickly as possible.
Qantas would think they actually got out of this cheaply because originally the ACCC were saying, because they wanted an exemplary fine. They wanted to make an example of Qantas to say this can never be allowed to happen again. But they were originally floating a fine in the order of $250 million. So Qantas's lawyers have clearly rung the ACCC and said, look, we're going to cop it sweet, but if we do it without having to go through the whole investigation/hearing process, what's a fine you'd be happy with? So they've actually got it for less than half of what they were facing in the first place.
Last year they posted their first full profit since COVID. So They are making that's $120 million that'll be paid out of profit now. So this is not like, for anyone that's concerned about, well, what's the profitability and the viability of Qantas, that's not a concern any longer.
It's the kind of thing where the fine they get today, their share price might actually go up because it's so much less than what they thought they were.
I wonder what the before market activity is this morning. I might have a look at that. In the meantime, let's talk about a much smaller business story that tells a broader economic issue. We've done too many of these recently, I reckon.
A lot.
Beloved institutions that have gone out of business. Andrew Taylor runs Cafe Komodo and joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Andrew, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Andrew, your business has been an absolute institution there for years on Prospect Road. We were talking before about the cost of living and $10 cabbages at local supermarkets. Has that been the killer for you?
It certainly hasn't helped, no doubt about it. Cost of living, people are going out less, people are spending, they're looking for cheaper eats, and just not going out because of the cost of living. So it's all kind of the perfect storm at the moment.
What about your inputs as a business these days, though, Andrew? Particularly thinking about power bills. Like, was that something that became too big a cross to bear as well?
Gas and electricity prices have gone through the roof for everyone, including us, and my gas bill is not insignificant with the deep fryers and the cookers and all that stuff. But, that's part of doing business. But, there's just all these added fees and, license fees. Every time you turn around, there's another fee coming out of the government and, another handout for more money from small business. And it's just not there anymore.
So it sounds like you're actually saying, Andrew, that it's not that the inflationary pressures that small business owners face are actually providing some pretty convenient cover for government, state and federal that have their hand out for more money at a time when you guys are already struggling.
Yes, I would agree with that. Yep. And that, look, I'm not saying that that's the reason that Cafe Komodo is going to close. It's certainly a contributing factor. It is really a perfect storm. There's a lot of things happening, and I'm not sure one solution to one of those things is going to make the difference. But it certainly has added on to the impact. No question.
And I said at the start, you have been an institution there in Prospect. Is there any future format whereby Cafe Komodo continues, or is this it? Are you just saying that's it, we're just shutting?
Well, look, to be honest, we've got a coffee van that we go to the North Adelaide Footy Club and we do the coffee there and some other places, and we're going to maintain that and hopefully maintain the brand. Let's see what happens in the future. But obviously for us, the best answer is someone comes in and takes it on and keeps that institution running. But it's a pretty tough ask.
It's funny you mentioned the van, Andrew. I know a lot of people that worked in the bricks and mortar coffee business. They've ended up finding the mobile van is much more profitable. And I reckon that tells a pretty sad story about how hard it is to run a shop, like an old-fashioned shop that we've become accustomed to. Is that fair?
I definitely agree with that. In a coffee van, there's two, sometimes one person, sometimes two, and that's my wife and I, and maybe my grandkids. But other than that, there's no staff issues. There's there's a lot less stress running that van. There's no big power costs, gas costs, none of that stuff. Just doesn't exist, and you're not paying rent. So a lot of those costs just simply go away.
Do you reckon, Andrew? I'm thinking here about like the steelworks in Wyalla over the last 5 years. There's been so much effort by government, by the former Liberal government, by the current Labor government to make sure that steelworks doesn't fall over. But when you add up the cumulative effect of businesses like yours, 5, 6, 7, 8 staff. I saw that there's a restaurant that Simon Wilkinson reviewed in the Tiser a few weeks ago saying it's the best new Japanese restaurant in Adelaide. 2 weeks ago they announced they're going out of business. Does government need to actually do something almost like sort of a summit to actually look at the challenges, all of the cumulative challenges small businesses are facing? Because it's such a hugely important sector, and it feels like stories like yours come and go and shrug your shoulders and then, we're off to talking about something else tomorrow.
Yeah, that's. I just don't think that the people in government, whether that's local, state, or federal, and I'm going to be a little bit political. I still don't understand why we have all three, but anyway.
Neither do we. You're going to hear a pretty sympathetic audience here, Andrew.
Yeah, but they just don't. They don't understand the people on the ground. I mean, certainly our local council. They got rid of an economic development team last year. Just after COVID to try and save a few bucks. And, unfortunately, this community's suffering from that.
Completely.
And they're trying to, fill those roles now. But, it's too late for some of us. I just think that there just needs to be a better understanding of the stresses and strains that are put on the business community.
Yeah, for sure.
I think a summit's a good idea, but they need to be talking to people that have been in the business and include people that are in the business.
Yeah.
Because just talking about it within the government walls means nothing.
Yeah, correct. Well, Andrew, commiserations, mate. It's a great business. I had a couple of excellent meals myself there over the years. Andrew Taylor of Cafe Komodo.
For those playing at home, 2.47 billion was the Qantas profit last year. So you wipe off the 120 million.
Loose change.
Sort of a rounding error, isn't it?
Get out the back of the sofa.
They lost 1.86 billion the year before that, but geez, they've made it back quickly. $120 million lighter in the pocket, though, thanks to that deal with the ACCC. Let's check traffic. We're going to talk local footy in a moment. Louver House, the leaders in turning your outdoor space into a great entertainment area with an opening and closing roof.
First water mains to look out for at Ingle Farm on Montague Road near Fairfax Road, another at Tatachilla on Tatachilla Road near California Road. Slow going at the moment for citybound at Evandale along Paynham Road from Lambert Road to Nelson Street, and at Hackney on Hackney Road from Bundy's Road to Decateville Terrace. Check your speed, Military Road, Semaphore South. At Priceline Pharmacy, they know the flu can knock you off your feet, so it's time to roll up your sleeve and join the fight against the flu. Book your flu shot at Priceline Pharmacy. Terms and conditions apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Jade Robin out on the road for us uncovering local stories. She's come across a scam this morning. Jade, good morning again to you.
Good morning. I don't know if you've ever fallen for an online scam or been scammed in another way. I have. I thought I was buying a discounted designer bag and paid for it to learn the hard way that it was a scam. Never saw the bag or my money again. It can happen to anyone, but that rage that you feel inside after you've been scammed, I don't know if you've ever thought about what you would say if you got the chance to face the person. Well, an Adelaide woman has. Alison Smythe lost more than $250,000 to a sophisticated scam using David Koch's face to lure victims in. Now, we know he's a finance guru, so this scam, it preyed on that and sucked people into thinking he was offering a really good deal, a deal simply too good to be true. Now, Alison was saving up so that she could move her mum, who suffers from Alzheimer's, into a nursing home, and she stumbled across a link on social media using Koshi's name and face to promote cryptocurrency, an investment platform. Now, she was groomed and coerced into making investments, only to realise that the scammers had totally cleared out her life savings. Now, Channel 7 Spotlight program found the bastard who did this to Alison and put him on the FaceTime call so that she could look him in the eye and tell him exactly what she thinks of him. Here she is now.
Have a look at this. Come on.
You're scum, mate. You are scum.
Would you like to apologise? Isaac, there you go. You can... Would you like to just apologise? Just do the decent thing and apologise. You've already banked the money.
They will suffer like you've done to us. You are scum. You are scum of the earth.
Wow.
Unbelievable. I think I would have said a few more expletives than Alison there, but how typical is this, though? He was bailed, and no surprises, he fled the country. But good on Alison for coming out, because I know this is really embarrassing. You feel like a fool falling for these scams, but 600,000 Aussies have. Yeah. We've lost $2.7 billion in the last 12 months. It happens to anyone.
Yeah, and the headline here is the guy was in the country. So often you think these people are in Siberia in an underground bunker somewhere, but if they're in here, we need to get to them. Thank you, Jay. That's a fascinating story and one that all too many people have fallen victim to. We're going to take a break. Back in a moment.
On 5AA Mornings today, Mother's Day coming up and a range of prizes to give away every day of the week. We'll look at Road Safety Week today, and the opposition says the suburbs are in the grip of a crime wave. Those topics, a lot more as well, plus your calls. I'm Matthew Pantelis. Look forward to your company from 9.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech Guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Here's a gift idea for Mum. Seamlessly share photos and videos with your loved ones from anywhere in the world with the FIVEAA PhotoStream 7-inch photo frame. It's a digital photo frame that connects to the internet and allows users to send photos from their devices such as a phone to the digital frame. PhotoStream's 7-inch photo frame is just $98 from Harvey Norman. They also have a larger 10-inch frame for $168. And if you really want to showcase your memories, they have a huge and stunning 15.6-inch photo frame from $298. Tell them I sent you in and receive a bonus $20 Harvey Norman gift card with any FIVEAA PhotoStream purchase, limited to 2 bonuses per customer. See the range of FIVEAA PhotoStream digital photo frames now at Harvey Norman.
Check out this great offer at a Harvey Norman store near you. Beechwood Homes, Adelaide's leading bespoke home builder, celebrates 35 years. Over that time, they've helped many hundreds of people realise their dream of building a home exactly how they envisioned it. That's the wonderful thing about building with Beechwood. There are no set plans, no set rules. It all starts with a pen, paper, and your ideas. Just like it did 35 years ago. If you can dream it, Beechwood Homes can build it. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
Use your outdoor area all year round with the great people at Luva House. They're the market leader in transforming your outdoor space into a great entertainment area with an opening and closing roof.
A Luva House roof will let in the perfect combination of airflow and sunlight as you need it, plus you can use it night and day with options like LED lighting. When the weather turns, automatic rain sensing technology keeps everything dry and protected.
So do what Will and I did. Go and visit the showroom to see for yourself. Rod and the team, they're great. Everything's made here in SA from the highest quality materials and then distributed across Australia by this family-owned and operated business.
Don't wait. Call them today to organise a free no-obligation design, measure and quote. They'll even come to you. See the light with Luva House. Visit luvahouse.com.au.
Honey?
Yeah?
I think it's time we started sleeping with other people.
Oh, you mean like Wendy and Dave?
Yes!
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen their Austrac camper?
Yeah, how good is the bed setup?
Did you know it's got an indoor and an outdoor?
Austrac campers!
Hey lads, a guy in the community says he's keen on the Ruffy in race 7.
Do we trust him?
His username is Big Stats Guy.
Say no more.
Connect and follow tips with a community of like-minded punters, only in Ladbrokes communities. Ladbroke it. What's gambling really costing you?
Hyundai's SUV sale with up to $1,500 in factory bonuses on Tucson. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
Four minutes to 9. You've doubtless seen the scoreboard. 82-24, 516-0. I'm not reading out lotto numbers. That was the final score in a Div 6 match over the weekend. Fitzroy thumped Elizabeth by 516 points. It's raised questions about the viability of the Elizabeth Football Club, and I think that's where our interest mainly lies. Adrian Watts is the president of the Elizabeth Football Club. Adrian, and that's that you're a club with a really proud history, mate. No one likes to see this kind of thing happen. What do you need to help the club out? What would give you guys a kick along that would mean you can continue to be a successful footy club and such an important part of the community?
Oh, look, the hard thing these days is getting people, involved in some of the background of what runs a footy club. And, time and money for everybody is a factor these days. So, there's years all clubs have the same sort of scenario where people need to go and live their lives somewhere and do their thing, and then, you just hope that they come back when they're ready to come back and things like that. So, that's mainly the reasons. That's sort of what we're looking for is, and obviously the money side of that comes back, when you've got your people coming back and making it a fun environment to be around.
How many teams do you field at the moment, Adrian?
Well, we've only got the one A-grade
one
team at the moment in seniors, and then we have 6 juniors, and we do have an under-16s grade, which is not going too bad at the moment. They've only played 3 games, but won 1, lost 2. But they're travelling okay at the moment.
And I'm guessing you had to, on the weekend, fill out your one team with probably a lot of young kids and or a lot of old blokes.
Well, I'm probably the oldest one, but the age group probably varies from about 17. Most of our 16s are all playing 16.
Okay.
Well, there's nothing under that sort of age group. Most of the other ones are above that age. So, but, you know, they're still obviously taking a step up to a grade that they probably weren't really exposed to as yet, and you know, we're feeling it.
Yeah, it's. I hope everyone's sort of feeling like you're not being teased as well, mate. Because I mean,
oh look, we've had that for plenty of years. So you know, it's for some it's water off a duck's back. Some will still get upset with things, but for me, as I said, I've been around long enough, so it's water off a duck's back to me.
What do you make of some of the discussion around things like, you know, school-style mercy rules or letting a side have kick-ins? That must feel patronising.
No way. Not even interested in talking about that sort of stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, there have been, we were talking about a little earlier this morning, there are templates where footy clubs have had their backs against it and managed to turn it around through the support of local community, Adrian. And we're going to do more work on this because we think it's interesting, and local footy clubs are just so hugely important to communities. Well,
that's right. Yeah.
We hope you guys get the support you need, and maybe as opposed to this being a horrible loss on the field, it turns out to be a win away from it because it raises some awareness and you get some people come back to the footy club.
Yeah, and that's the idea, is getting people back around it, and people that, you know, love doing something for the game as well, because, you know, need looking after here and there too. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Good on you, Adrian. Thanks for joining us, mate. Adrian Watts, the Elizabeth Football Club president, and we will be doing more on that story tomorrow.
Yeah, there's a way to turn it around.
Yeah.
We'll speak to a club that has done precisely that on the show. Matt Pantelis is coming up. That's all from us. We'll catch you tomorrow from 6.
Hi, Katie Bridges here, Market Lead at FIVEAA.